Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sharing with Shellshock. I am your host, ShellshockPrime, and we are here with yet another stream. This time we are back with another Mega Man episode. This is the second one, but as the first Mega Man episode was actually the first episode I've done back in 2022, which I had 112 on, and now here we are with our memories of Mega Man. We got one returning guest and two new guests, and we have Nadia Oxford. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am ready to talk Mega Man. Sorry, my husband David / LBD Night Train could not make it. We have to really get a new mic, basically, so that he can start podcasting alongside me again.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, next time for sure. And then welcome back, Rick. It's good to have you on again.
Hello, it's great to be here. Great to, I'm excited for I guess this is a Mega Man 2 episode in some ways.
Mega Man 2.
The best one, obviously.
The best one, yeah. And then we have SupaSquezPlays joining for the first time. Welcome.
How you doing? Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Very happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I like your hat.
Thank you.
That's sick.
I absolutely love your hat so much, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, and of course, we are going to be talking a lot about Mega Man all day, or rather all night tonight. And of course, for those who are watching the stream, I'm dealing with some random drop frames, but rest assured, that's not going to affect anything regarding this podcast. So we're going to keep on moving, just like we always do. But before we get started on talking about Mega Man, Nadia, what type of content do you do?
Well, I'm a writer and a podcaster mainly. My husband and I, we wrote the Mega Man Relic Master Field Guide and the Mega Man X Maverick Hunters Field Guide, both official stuff from Udon and Get on Amazon, cool places like that. And besides that, I am the co-host of the Axe of the Blood God podcast. We do RPGs, old and new, Eastern and Western. We stream every Saturday at 12 p.m. ET.
Mm-hmm.
And and also I do a lot of writing consultation. If you need me for words, you can hire me for pretty much anything. That's about it.
Yep. Awesome. And Rick?
Yeah, so I run a channel called The D-Pad. It's me and a bunch of my friends. We've been doing it since 2011.
Nice.
All kinds of content. We do Let's Plays. We do video essays. It's kind of like my little pet project on the side. If people broadly know who I am or our channel, it's most likely from a brief history of Michael Jackson's Sonic the Hedgehog 3 from back, oh God, almost a decade ago now. I'm getting very old.
I remember that. Good stuff.
It was a blast. I'm working on a spiritual successor of sorts to that, hopefully for later this year. But our main thing that we do is franchise plays. We'll do an entire franchise start to finish. We did Zelda, and then we went back and went more in depth with Zelda, and now we're doing Zelda side stuff.
Nice.
When we first finished with Zelda, we started doing Mega Man. We have the Mega Let's Play that we've been doing since 2016. We're so close to properly being done. We have the post game for Star Force 3 and a handful of like side content, and then we'll get there. But yeah, Sonic, Kirby, Kingdom Hearts, Resident Evil, all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Nice.
Very good, very good. And we got you, Squez. What type of content do you do?
All right. So I'm technically a variety streamer. I do a lot of platformers and stuff, but more importantly, I'm a Mega Man and Sonic challenge runner and speed runner. I'm on the leaderboard for Mega Man 8 on the Nintendo Switch, Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, and Mega Man X4 Ultimate Armor X. I'm on the speedrun category for those two. I do various challenge runs, like mostly suggestions that other Mega Man content creators do. They're like, hey, we'll try this challenge. We want to see if you can do it. And if I have time to stream, I'll go ahead and give it a shot. Some of them have been brutal, especially in the X4 category. But yeah, that's what I do for the most part.
Awesome.
Very good. Awesome. And now we got a lot of Mega Man to talk about, but the way we're gonna get started is I'll ask you guys a couple of questions, and then we'll spend some time talking. And we're gonna start. So the thing with Mega Man is Mega Man started off in 1987. I believe December 17th was when Mega Man launched in Japan, and then launched not too long afterwards in the United States and in Europe, with the infamous bad box art in North America.
Yes.
Yes. If you know,
I can't
you know.
even remember what the story was behind that box art and why it was so horrible, but I know there is a story.
There is a story, and I do remember reading up about it. So what happened was that when Capcom decided to bring the game over to the United States, the game was actually planned to be Japan only originally, but when it was successful in Japan, they decided to bring it over to the United States and later Europe. They needed to rush to get the game out as soon as possible. So Capcom USA, they got the order to release it, but they had to rush it, like release it as soon as possible. But it wasn't Capcom's fault. You wonder whose fault it was? It was Nintendo's fault, Nintendo of America, because of how strict they were when it comes to getting getting companies to release their games in a timely manner.
Right.
It was back when the NES was like very, very in the peak of its era. And what happened is that's how we got it. It was someone who, a higher up, got one of his friends to make a portrait of what ended up being like the bad box art. It took like about 6 to 8 hours or so, from what I remember reading about it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just to get all that done, and we ended up with one of the worst, if not the worst, box art ever. Probably, maybe not the worst, but definitely one of the worst.
There are worse ones for sure, but it's
Yeah, it's up there.
And even though it did not sell that well here, when the second game released, it ended up selling like over 1.5 million units, which, and for the longest time, it was the best-selling game of the series until it was beaten by other games like Mega Man Battle Network 4, and now most recently, Mega Man 11. And I think the Battle Network Legacy Collection surpassed it too. It might have.
It did really well.
Yeah, it did. And Mega Man has appeared in so many different games outside of just his own games. He appeared in the Marvel vs. Capcom games. He appeared in Smash Brothers. And yes, there was also Mega Man in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where it was the bad box art.
Mega Man, yeah.
Which, bad timing on that part, because that was after when Keiji Inafune left. And yeah, so that's Mega Man.
That was actually shortly after Legends 3 was canceled. You're right, Inafune had left, and shortly after it was canceled, and along with a lot, like pretty much every other Mega Man project. So our Mega Man that all we got for the time was this jerk in this game. We were not in the mood. Put it that way. We were not in the mood.
That's not even to mention the games that we didn't know were canceled until years later. You had to do like Mega Man, was it Universe? Mega Man Universe. Oh, there were like 2 or 3 others that were in there.
There's like a Mega Man Online Korean RPG, which had some cool art and stuff in it, but didn't really know about it.
All right.
But anyway, so let's talk about our own personal history with Mega Man. Nadia, how did you first get into Mega Man?
Actually, I think my first Mega Man game was Mega Man 3, and I had known about Mega Man because, like, back then, the only way I really got game information was, like, scattered episodes of, Video Power or Video and Arcade Top 10, as we would watch in Canada.
Yeah.
And I would just kind of see Mega Man this, Mega Man that, and I'm like, oh, this Mega Man dude, he sounds like a pretty cool dude. And since my family was kind of poor, we didn't really get to buy games often, but we could, like, rent them. And one day the store I actually did rent from was selling, Mega Man 3 used, like, very cheap. So I'm like, oh, okay, I already know this game rules, so I'm going to take it home. And yeah, sure enough, it ruled. Yep. And so I kind of spent my summer playing that. Like, I wasn't very good at platformers, and Mega Man will teach you how to be good at platformers. So if you're not very good at them. So I got through that. Then I got 4. Then I think I went back to 2. Or I might have done 5 first, then got back to 2, and then I went back to 1. And I actually said to my parents, like, they were going on a trip somewhere, and I said, "Bring me home a Mega Man game." And I was hoping I'd get like 4 or 5, and I got this weirdo looking this like box art, and I'm like, "What the? This isn't Mega Man. What is this? This looks terrible. Did you get this from a dollar store? What is this?" I had no idea what the box art for Mega Man looked like, but I sure learned. And yeah, after that, it was just like a kind of an uphill trajectory. Like, Mega Man X, of course, I got when I got the SNES and all the games after that. And then I got on the internet, I got on the fandom, and I got my husband, and I wrote stuff for Capcom and Udon, and yeah, Bob's your uncle, I guess.
And that's one way to get into Mega Man.
Yeah. be there from the start, I guess.
Yep. Rick, what about you?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I also, like Mega Man, came out in 1987, and it was right, exactly, yeah. I'm in that weird zone of like I'm old enough to feel very old in the gaming space, but I'm also just barely not old enough where like we got an NES at home and it was for my parents. Like they bought it,
Right.
like my mom and dad bought it for themselves, and then I played it and they were like, "Oh, he's better at this than we are." I think this is just his now. But so yeah, we also did not really buy a ton of games. Eventually we got some more. My mom ran a daycare, and so that became kind of an expense towards that, where it's like, oh, okay, we do this and then everybody can play stuff. But so there were games that I really wanted to try out that I discovered at like other family members' house. Like my grandmother's place was where we had Dragon Warrior, and I fell in love with Dragon Warrior.
Nice.
And my aunt had one. She let me borrow her Game Boy copy of Solar Striker, which was made by Minakuchi Engineering, who later went on to make the Rockman World games, 4 of them anyway, on the Game Boy. But she also had Mega Man 2, which I had never played before. I had not heard of Mega Man before, and I played. I'm like, this is awesome. We go home, and like that Christmas, I open a thing up and it is Mega Man for the Super Nintendo, Mega Man X, and I can't remember a game that I fell into harder in my childhood than Mega Man X. It was huge. And so I think Mega Man 64 was one of the first games I bought myself when that came around, and I still in my head think it was Mega Man 64 over Mega Man Legends because we were kind of a Nintendo-y household. But yeah, no, between like from Mega Man 2 and then over to Mega Man X, I still go back and play Mega Man X every once in a while just because like it just feels so good. It's a
great platformer. It
really is
pinnacle of platformers, in my opinion.
It's amazing. It's one of the most perfect experiences for a game of its size, I would say.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because those are some really good experiences. When it comes to Mega Man. What about you, Squez?
Me, I'm more of a late bloomer. Like, I didn't start with the classic series. I actually started with the X series. The first game I played was Mega Man X3 on the SNES. And it was such a good game, but it was also really hard. As a kid, playing a Mega Man, like, a third iteration of the X game is just so hard.
That final Sigma boss is bullshit.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, I didn't even get that far. I would ask my older brother to help me. My older brother was into games and stuff, and I would have him try to help me, and neither of us could beat Bit and Bite when they combined into the dragon.
Oh yeah,
because he would always like throw his fist at you, and then like you try to dodge the jump, and he would always catch you, then punch you, and in 3 hits you're dead. We never got past that part. So fast forward a little bit later, maybe like a year or two, like into my childhood, like he worked for Toys R Us, so he would get a lot of the newer games, and we got a PlayStation, and we played. He brought home 3 games: Final Fantasy IX, Mega Man 8, and Mega Man X4. And man, those were incredible games. I loved it. I love Mega Man 8. I love the colors, the vibrant colors, the animation, like even the horrible voice acting. I fell in love with it immediately. Like, and I just
it was cool to hear at the time.
Yeah, and then it gets a more serious tone with X4. Playing them like kind of one after the other, like it was so funny because X has more of a serious tone, but like what do I like and like with Zero and all that stuff, and kind of have a deeper story as opposed to Mega Man 8 having more so like kind of cheeky animation, just funny banter. Like especially with Dr. Wily, But yeah, that's how I started. It was fun. It was hard to like. I didn't beat X3, and I didn't play the classic series till I was well into like my teen years. Like when I went back and got.
Why did you decide to speedrun it?
Yeah,
why did I decide to speedrun it? To be honest, like as a starting streamer, I didn't know what direction I wanted to take the channel. But I was really excited about the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. So, because it came out in April of last year, I believe?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, April of last year. And I had just started streaming. And I was like, what can I do to, like, pass the time, get people hyped up about this like Legacy Collection coming out? I was like, okay, I'll play all the classic series again and, like, play X. I played 1 through 11, X1 through X8. And because I love Mega Man 8 and X4 so much, I was like, why not speedrun it? It's, I was looking at guides and stuff. It's fun. It's challenging, but it's fun. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, doing those challenge runs, like I've seen you do some of them, and they're no
It's-
joke. They're no joke
yeah.
whatsoever. Yeah. So so I got into Mega Man back in 1994 actually, because at the time I was 8. Um Though I first heard of Mega Man because I watched a show on NBC called Captain N, the Game Master.
Oh yeah.
But as a
Oh,
kid,
God.
I barely remembered that show. I remembered Mario, but I barely remember Captain N. Because I used to because I bounced around like different channels watching Saturday morning cartoons, and NBC
Yeah.
at the time had cartoons until 1992, which that like 92 was also like when the last season of Captain N like aired, because they were airing reruns around that time, and then they just canceled the show because NBC decided to move on from cartoons to Saved by the Bell and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those teen sitcoms, that's what they wanted to go for. But then I remember, for me it was a Fox Kids affiliate for the first season, and then the second season it was the WB, the Mega Man cartoon.
Yes.
This is how that's actually what got me into Mega Man, because I actually watched the Mega Man cartoon from the 90s, which I still like that show. I know people make fun of it. I know people tend to go with all those memes, like for example, Mega Man says, "Now I got your power."
Your power. If you
And-
look behind me, you can see on my shelf I've got like the DVD sets of like I think it's DVD or VHS, one or the other.
Yeah.
I have
Oh, nice.
the art, the Mega Man, a couple of episodes.
Yep.
I just like the art.
Yeah, the art's great. So for me, I actually got to watch that show, and then I remember one of my uncles got me around the same time Mega Man 3. That ended up being my first Mega Man game on the NES.
Good choice.
And then after that, the next time I played a Mega Man game wasn't until I want to say 98, which was not long after I got my Sega Saturn, and we got Mega Man X4. And that's where I really got into Mega Man. And funny enough, afterwards, the next Mega Man game I remember playing was in 1999. I was seeing a counselor at school, and he had a Game Boy, and he had Mega Man 2 Game Boy, which is actually, like, looking back, it's actually the weakest one out of all the Game Boy games.
Not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audio mixing is not good. And the level design is absolutely, like, kind of not great either. Like, Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge is better, but not that much better.
Did we lose him? No.
So
But-
there's some stuttering.
Yeah. But yeah, Mega Man though, Dr. Wily's Revenge was okay, but it was not great. It was okay.
Oh man.
Okay, so for Mega Man 2 Game Boy, that's the one I played when I was a kid. But then I was hoping for years to see a Mega Man game on the Nintendo 64, and guess what? It turns out there actually was one, and it's a port of Mega Man Legends, and they called it Mega Man 64, and we got it used because we found it at a comic book shop around my area that is not a comic book shop anymore, but now it's like some sort of like tech shop, but
Yeah.
they had it there. Apparently someone got it from Blockbuster and just sold it to them, and then I just bought it for about maybe like $30 and like $20 to $30 in 2001, because it was still kind of new for N64, so I got it. And I remember playing the game, and I got stuck at the final boss against Mega Man Juno,
Oh, that's a tough
yeah.
final boss.
to the point where I did not beat the game for years until 2 years ago when I streamed it. But I streamed the PlayStation version, and I managed to beat Mega Man Juno, and that was that. And Mega Man Legends ended up being amazing for me. And the next game after that, I believe, was Mega Man and Bass for the Game Boy Advance, and I do not like Mega Man and Bass. Not even.
Yeah.
Not
The Game
even.
Boy Advance version is also like the worst version of that game.
It
too.
is.
The SNES version is already hard enough.
Yeah.
But what got me more into Mega Man was playing the Mega Man Anniversary Collection for GameCube. I know they flipped
I played that too. Yeah.
I know they flipped the buttons on GameCube, but It was also my introduction to G4's icons because I didn't have G4 at the time. I got it a little later. And watching the Mega Man episode, which I thought was really good at the time. And though they did cut a couple of things out of it because of the fact that I was watching on GameCube and they barely talked about that much about PlayStation. Like they talked about Sega.
Oh yeah.
They talked about Sega a bit because at the time Sega was no longer competition.
Right.
So, but PlayStation, they barely talked about it. They mainly talked about how Mega Man, like how Mega Man went from being like having all those games on NES, and it took a while. He was like a late bloomer for NES, the Super Nintendo, and then Sony pretty much just wanted nothing to do with Mega Man for a while. Supposedly, from what I heard, is that Capcom threatened to not release Resident Evil 2 in North America if they would not if Capcom was not allowed to release Mega Man 8 or Mega Man X4 onto PlayStation.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yes. So
Kind of had to take their own games hostage.
yes.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, and the thing is with PlayStation at the time, like the majority of the audience was more like teens and the older crowd.
Right.
So a lot of the people that would have played Mega Man were on N64, and they didn't get those games. They only got Legends because third parties did not want to release games with cartridges on N64.
It sure didn't.
So that's the thing about that. I remember that, like, and just so it's one of those things where, like, when we got the Mega Man Anniversary Collection, I also got the Mega Man X Collection when it came out, and that I've been collecting a lot of games, and the thing is, Mega Man is extremely expensive. Like, I don't have X2 or X3. I have X1 on Super Nintendo, but X2 and X3 are like extremely expensive. But I
And
did. Go
that's
ahead.
before you even look for the Super Nintendo version of X3, which is like ludicrous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We have a copy of Mega Man 7, which is also like Mega Man 7 and Mega Man X3.
Yeah.
Those are two very late Capcom releases on the SNES. Like they
Yeah.
really stuck with the SNES. And they had a great year for 1995. They had Breath of Fire 2. They had Mega Man X3, which isn't a perfect game, but actually, like when I
Still,
was out on Mega Man for a little while, and I got back to it because of X3, and I was just like, oh, you know what? It's not perfect, but I like it.
Yeah. So like I basically been into Mega Man since the mid '90s, and what propelled my Mega Man my fandom in Mega Man more was when Mega Man was not getting new games. I was just basically like wanting more games from Mega Man for a long time, and then we finally got it in 2018 with Mega Man 11, and yeah, so. Now, like, the next thing to ask is, which Mega Man games are your all-time favorites? And Rick, let's start with you.
Oh boy, it's such a hard question.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I watched I watched the first episode of the Brother Band podcast that had Proto Dude on, and they wound up asking they wound up asking him like, hey, what's your favorite Mega Man from each of the series? And I'm just like, how would I even answer that? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think mine would have to be like Mega Man Legends /64 is just way up there. I could play that game in my sleep. I've done it so many times. Apple Market is in my head constantly for the rest of my life. It's so nice. I'd say X1 also is way up there. Probably like number 2 if Legends is number 1. The Zero series, just generally, they all blur together, the Zero games, just because they play so mechanically close to one another.
Yeah,
But they're such a good challenge too. Like they really don't like mess around. And yeah, I think that Star Force 3, Battle Network 6 are way up there as well. They really knew how to go out on a high note for both of those, I guess. But Legends is probably the one that is ultimately the top. Same thing with Juno. Also, I got absolutely flattened by him for I don't even know how long. He would still kick my ass now.
Is that
Juno
like is Juno harder on the N64? Maybe is it like the controller? Maybe I've never played it, so I'm not sure myself.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a possibility.
Yeah, it might be
Because
just that.
I don't know if Legends for the PlayStation had Dual Shock support for the
It did.
joysticks at
No.
all.
No, it did
No.
not.
Okay.
2 did, but not 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. So yeah, I don't know. It might have been. It might have been a little bit harder for the N64 version, or maybe even just from a processing standpoint. Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't let you get through it as fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing stuff.
Yeah, because what I remember is that for Mega Man Legends, apparently they've did not they did not put the DualShock controls for the North American version, because the Japanese version, it released before the DualShock released in Japan. So
Right.
Gotcha.
yeah,
They could take a note out of Square. I think at the time it was still Squaresoft, maybe Square Enix. Their book for having the international version, which they then resell as a souped up model in Japan again.
yep,
It was FF10 or maybe it was 12 that did that.
7 even had a juiced up version.
Oh,
that
did they?
went back to Japan. Yeah, they had like little things. Did they? Yeah, I think they did. I know they did like a lot of little fixes for North America, and they might have sold that back to Japan. Now that I think about it, maybe I'm pulling something out of my butt, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. They do sell like, hey, we fixed like 3 things. This is the superior version now.
$50, please.
$50, please. To
Yeah.
5,000 yen, I guess.
exactly. Any other favorites?
Oh, for me, I could list another 15 of them, but I think that'd be. I will say, as for like hidden gems that are really high up there, Mega Man Base Challenger from the Future is a legitimately excellent classic Mega Man game. Better than Mega Man and Base, in my opinion. I love I think it's on the Wonder Swan, the
Yeah.
original Wonder Swan. 2 of the levels have points where you rotate the handheld to have it in a vertical mode, which is
cool.
one of the coolest little things I've ever seen in a video game. So very cool. Yeah.
All right. What about you, Squez? Your favorite Mega Man games?
I'm gonna have to do the same thing Rick did and just pick
Yeah.
one from each series. But for the classic, I gotta give it to 8. I think all around, I think 8 is my favorite because it's one that, like, when I was younger, I have like a love for it when I played it as a kid, and I still love it now today as a grown man. Like, it's just something about every time I play it, I just feel that joy. So 8 is probably my favorite one. Out of the X series, X4. I mean, it's one of the easiest to play. It's very beginner friendly, and it just really, like, the storytelling is probably one of the best there. Battle Network 2. That one I have the most fondest memories with. Like,
That had a weird localization. That just had some really adult jokes in there. It was
yeah,
a strange game.
Battle Network is that's so good. I mean, I love the first, like, the next iterations of those games, but I haven't played 6, so I have to admit
Oh,
that
you're in
now.
for a treat. That's
Yeah, I have not
so
played
good.
6. I stopped at 5. I kind of was burnt out with Team Proto Man and Team Colonel. It just kind of, it was like a weird redirect that it didn't hit with me. So, like, when 6 came out, I moved on to other games. So
We'll say 6 is a nice return to form after 4 and
Okay.
5 went so far.
Yeah,
out
yeah,
left field, so.
I've heard that in, like, a lot of Reddit forums and stuff. I've heard that, like, 6 is where you want to be. What else? For the Zero, I just recently started playing the Zero series because without the save assist, those games were really hard to beat back in the day. My best friend had 1 and 2, and they were just like, I couldn't beat them. They just, like, without save assist, it's
The
a
first
challenge.
game particularly is really rough if you're
Yeah.
not safe scumming your way through it.
Yeah. And what else? I haven't played Star Force, and which I'm very upset that they didn't release that in the Battle Network Legacy Collection. I felt like
For
that was
real.
Yeah,
a big miss on Capcom. But I'll play it eventually once I could get my hands on it. What other pretty much covers it for me? Yeah, I think 8, Battle Network 2, X4. 03. I did play 03 now as a streamer. I played through it. I kind of like that the most. I kind of like the final boss. Kind of looks like a Gundam. He kind of looks like
Yeah.
like a big Voltron like boss. It was pretty cool.
Yep.
But yeah, that's I think pretty solid list for me.
And a very good list. What about you, Nadia?
Let's see. For the original series, Mega Man 3, I think I'm probably the most nostalgic for. But I also just love 4 because I know I'm nostalgic for that as well. Just playing 3 and then playing 4 and like the jumping graphics. And back then it was like, whoa, graphics or everything. And Mega Man 4 is still a pretty impressive looking game, and 5 actually, and 6. They're all very good looking late release NES games. Mega Man X is still one of the best games ever released. Like, it's one of those games you just pick up and breeze through, and it just feels good to play.
Yeah.
And has a fantastic soundtrack.
It does.
And I remember playing that when it first came out, or close to when it first came out. It's like, holy shit! Like that was a big moment. Let's see, Mega Man Zero. I like 4. A lot of people don't like 4 as much as like 1, 2, 3, but I don't know. There's something about I like the Maverick designs for that one. I like how they're all based on mythological beings like Minotaur, Titania. I think the Kraken as well. Like, and I like the story. Like, finally we get some humans involved in this story for Mega Man, which is like a series about humans and robots. So yeah, and I was never like humongous on Battle Network, but I liked it. And definitely 6, I think, is where it all kind of comes together really nicely. And let's see, Legends. Legends 2 is a brilliant game. It's still one of my favorite adventure games of all time.
Yep.
What series am I missing? Star Force. I didn't play too much of Star Force. I played like the first game for like a couple hours. I'm like, I'm good. And then, yeah, I don't know if I missed anyone, but there you are.
Yep. So for Mega Man, classic series, my favorite games, I'm gonna go with like three for the for classic and 3 for X, like different three as in like 3 games. My favorites are 10 is actually my favorite classic game. Like when it
That's
came,
very good. 10 is underrated.
I
love 10.
love 10 a whole lot. Like that's I know like it came out in 2010, but I enjoyed that game so much.
Who plays Proto Man? Like, come on.
It was Proto Man. You can also play as bass on that game.
Yeah, it's fun.
And 2 is definitely up there for me. And also I want to give a special shout out to Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. That one is amazing.
Oh my god, I was oh my god.
Yeah,
that is one of the best games I've ever played. I'm so sad I didn't say that. I recently played through it. It was so good. Like original story, the soundtrack was amazing. The game, the level design was
Star droids
cool.
kick ass.
For anyone listening, if anyone
Terra was amazing, dude. Oh,
yep.
I love it.
For anyone watching or listening, if you have not played Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy, if you have NSO, you can play on the Game Boy app.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because 1 through 5 on the Game Boy or on
Nintendo
NSO.
Switch,
on Switch.
Yes.
The first 4 kind of take them or leave them. The 5th one is legitimately worth playing.
4 is pretty good. 5 is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
For Mega Man X, X4, like my top 3 are X4, then X1, and then X2.
Nice.
X2 is a very how do I put this, like, tactical game. Like you really kind of had to you had to have good reflexes for the first game, but X2 really kind of asked you to refine. Like I could never get that heart over the spike pit and like all there. You had to do some weird acrobatics. Like I could never get the ride chaser up there.
Yeah, like the ride chasers. The only I feel like one of the only things that holds X2 back, in my opinion, is having to search for the X Hunters. And and there's also a possibility you may not even get all 3 of them. You may actually miss 1 or even all of them.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Yeah, because the game has 2 endings. Like the bad ending is basically you do not get all of Zero's parts because the X Hunters have Zero's parts. The good ending, is basically you would fight like this replica of Zero. It's like a black Zero, and then the real Zero pops up and just slashes it, and then you just go straight to fighting Sigma. So X2, like if it wasn't for all that, I think X2 could have been better than X1, but X1 I felt had a lot more impact in terms of how Mega Man had that leap from the classic series to X, because the way they did it in X1 is that you do not dash right away. They made
Yes.
they wanted to graduate people from the NES to the Super Nintendo with Mega Man, and because X2 and onwards, they assumed you play X1.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
And
I think the only thing I was gonna say, I think the only thing that you have with X from the start that's more than Mega Man is just the wall jump.
Yeah. Like, because and X cannot slide like classic could. That's why they decided to add the, that's why, though it would have been funny just to see him slide in addition to also being able to dash. But also like you could charge and everything. I thought it was great. It does make repeat playthroughs a bit annoying, but there should what they should have done was have it so that if this is your first time playing it, sure, have it. But if it's not your first time, then you could be able to dash. But then they could have added like a special effect for dashing. Like for example, you could be able to dash in the air because you could do that in some of the Mega Man X games.
Yeah. It started with X2.
They exploited. They were very clever when they put out the PSP version, Maverick Hunter X, because I feel like basically everybody, if you've ever played Mega Man X once, you burn it into your brain. You go to Chill Penguin first, you get your dash. Chill Penguin's easy to beat with a regular weapon, and you just do the rest of the game however you want to do it. Because in Maverick Hunter X, you go to Chill Penguin stage, and the foot parts are not there.
Yep.
Because they shuffle them around. I still don't remember which stage actually has them because I've only played it a couple times.
I actually really liked Maverick Hunter X. It's really a shame it didn't get off the PSP.
Yeah,
that
same thing with
wasn't able to do like additional games in that series.
Powered Up as well.
I would like to see it on the PS2. Like they used to do a lot of conversions back in the day.
Like what I would have done was what I would have done was wanted that if I was running Capcom, I would have actually had it so that you would have Mega Man powered up Maverick Hunter X, and I would also throw in Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins just to have that there.
Save the PSP games.
Exactly. So for Legends, I've only played Legends 1 and that's it. I still have to do Tronbon and Legends 2.
Tronbon is a nice one. That's actually a very satisfying very very satisfying like puzzle action kind of. Yeah.
For Battle Network, and here's my thing about Battle Network. For the longest time, up until like when the Battle Network collection came out last year, I've had trouble trying to get into the series because I kept playing the first one, and the first one was
don't do that.
First one's rough.
The first one is
I'm glad with that because when 2 came out, it was such a big improvement on 1.
Yes, it was a big
one.
Huge.
Like it's like they listened to whoever complained, like, and they just did almost everything right with 2, and then just improved upon that with 3.
Yeah, because I know, like, because that's the thing. Because 2 is a lot better. I know people love 3 a lot. I actually prefer 2 over 3.
I like 2 better. Yeah,
I like 2 better. Yeah.
4. People say that was the worst game in the series. In my personal opinion, it's not the worst game in the series. I understand why people consider it because you have to beat the game 3 times just to get everything. But for
just
me,
to see the post game at all.
yes,
Yeah, that's what hurts. Yeah, that's the worst.
the only reason why I still think that Battle Network 1 is the worst game in the series is because that's the game that for a long time pushed me away from the series, and then I finally just got through it because of the fact that I was playing the collection, which I still have to do 5 and 6, but I've heard great things about 6, and I'm looking forward to getting to that at some point. And I have not touched any of the Star Force games because my plan was that I'm waiting until when I finish the Battle Network series, and then I'm gonna go to Star Force. Oh, as far as the Zero and ZX series, Zero 3 is my favorite game. It's also one of my top 5 favorite Game Boy Advance games. And ZX, I actually prefer... I prefer ZX Advent a little bit more, but there's a lot...
I did like Advent, yeah.
But-
it was a strange game, but I liked it.
There's some things about Advent I like more than the original ZX, but there's some things about the original ZX that I like more. I like the way the map system worked in ZX more than in Advent.
For sure.
But I like the gameplay more in Advent. I kind of wish that there was a third game that would have brought everything together. because they kind of opened the door for it. And
Like ZX was more like it felt more like a Metroidvania to me with the way
I was gonna say.
For sure.
felt-
Yeah. It's definitely
for me,
like
who's
that.
never played it, I've only played it once, and it was like I streamed it my first playthrough. It was weird. It was weird to kind of get everything kind of going at first, because like, oh, I could walk around. I just don't pick a stage and go, because every
Yeah.
Mega Man game has been like you pick a stage and you go.
Mhm.
This is
I like the idea though of like the different Mega Man series kind of having their own genre
Identity,
like
yeah.
definitions to them, and I think that really worked well. I mean, sales wise, it was kind of a bummer for ZX and Advent, but like
Yeah.
I just like the idea of like ZX just feels so different, even from Zero, which like is really similar mechanically as far as like how you play, but like the world map and all that stuff done so differently, and like it makes it stand out really nicely, I think.
Yeah, and instead of like getting the boss's powers, you turn into the boss.
Yeah.
And like it definitely learned how to separate itself, and I like that. I like that a lot.
yeah,
Mega Man.
oh, absolutely. But yeah, like that. Those are the Mega Man games that I consider to be my all-time favorites because, like, because at this point, like, I will say, for the X games, people talk about the worst ones being X6 and X7, but after playing Extreme 2, not anymore. I think Extreme 2 is the worst one.
Oh my god.
It was a real piece of work, wasn't it? Like
Yes.
I don't even think I finished it. I have
didn't finish it
Extreme and I
either.
finished that.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, X6, not a good game.
pretty
X7,
bad.
not a good game. But after playing Extreme 2, that completely changed my opinion on what I think is the worst game. Like, it's
Definitely a C team kind of game.
yes.
Yeah.
Extreme 1 is actually decent. It's actually
Yeah.
pr-
It's
It's
fine.
kick-ass.
pretty good.
It just tries to be the first Mega Man X game. Nothing like really special beyond that.
Yeah,
And it worked.
exactly. Like Extreme 1, it's good for a Game Boy Color game. That's just how I feel about it. Like, it's good for a Game Boy Color game. But yeah.
Let me see.
All right. So now the next thing we'll talk about is what are some of your fondest memories that involve Mega Man and Squez? We're going to go to you first.
All right. Can I give you two? I'm gonna give you one as a kid and then one as an adult.
Go right ahead.
Like I said, for Mega Man Battle Network 2, I was like kind of starting like my high school journey, kind of really coming to terms with who I am, how I identify and stuff. And like I just remember playing Mega Man Battle Network 2 all the time. Like it was my go-to game. Like I played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Mega Man Battle Network 2. Those are my two games. I'd have the yellow Sony Walkman with the weird logo, the Sony logo. I would listen to Linkin Park, and like life was good. Whenever people ask about like their like fondest moments as a kid and what you remember the most about childhood, that right there. Like I had the purple indigo like Game Boy Advance with the squiggly light USB that you plug on top. So like, and I just always had 4 AA batteries, and I was ready to go. That was my fond memory as a kid. As an adult, on stream, I did a Mega Man X4 Lemons Only challenge where I beat the whole game. Obviously, with some exceptions because Sigma could only be hit with certain weapons. But I did that. I beat all of X4, just no upgrades, no anything like that.
Nice.
Beat the entire game just using the Buster Only, and it was like I've never felt a greater gaming accomplishment ever in my life. Like I will never forget that. It took 3 streams and I think about 18 hours. It was crazy. It was hard. Split Mushroom himself took 6 hours. Like it was
Whoa.
awful. Yeah.
He would be terrible if you only have the Buster.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine.
I couldn't, and I wasn't allowed to pick up any upgrades. This was a community member gave me the challenge, so I was like, I'll try it, and I wasn't allowed to pick up any upgrades or anything like that. Just lemons. No charge buster, just lemons.
Oh, not even charge buster. Wow.
Yeah, just lemons. And it was brutal. It was awful, but I enjoyed it. Once I beat it, I was like, this is one of my greatest gaming memories ever.
Nice.
Accomplished.
Awesome. That's a challenge that I'm not sure if I could even do it, but
yeah, I thought the same thing, man, and I thought the same thing. And
yeah. What about you, Nadia? Your fondest memories with Mega Man over the years?
I mean, there's a lot, but I think maybe getting Mega Man 3, and that was like when I wasn't very good at action games, and so I kind of spent like not an entire summer, but a lot of a summer, just learning how to play Mega Man, which was a big challenge, especially since the only platformer I was like very like familiar with was like Mario. I hadn't really played any of the really difficult ones like Ninja Gaiden or whatnot, or even Castlevania. So yeah, just kind of spending that summer kind of getting to know the games and not really, once you play a Mega Man game, you kind of get the idea of what the structure is and who you're going to meet and what you're going to do. But having that first game is pretty like, wow, what's going to happen next? And then this is also the game, don't forget, where you get Doc Robot and those like weird ass kind of broken Robot Master stages that follow up on the first 8.
Yeah.
And having not played Mega Man 2 at the time, I'm looking at this asshole like, what is this? What is going on? Who are these jerks who are falling inside of you? So I had to figure all that out in addition to like, the basic game. And it took me a while, but I did it, and I finished the game, and that was a pretty proud moment.
Yep. All right. And that's a very good moment.
Yeah.
Rick, what about you?
Yeah, so it's interesting as far as like when I was like a kid or growing up or like even getting through college, like Mega Man is just kind of this like constant through, like as soon as I had Mega Man, I always was like trying to find more Mega Man games and play them. And I graduated from college in 2010, and literally like simultaneous with that was the point where Mega Man just kind of stopped existing altogether. And it was like, oh, right, like we've had one and a half Mega Man games, new Mega Man games in the last 14 years. So I had to find new like areas to get into them, and like so I honestly, my fondest memories have been like on the channel. We've done the Mega Let's Play. I've played so many games that I didn't even know existed and things for that, and it gave us some kind of interesting opportunities, honestly. Like I forget what year it was. We went to MagFest, and I actually got in as a speedrunner for Mega Man Extreme, the first one. It went terribly, as it is wont to do. It was me and my buddies John and Ben on the couch with me. I made a horrible mistake because the idea was it was a 100% run, first game, the normal mode and the hard mode. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I beat normal mode, got to the credits, and I'm like, all right, let's just reset to skip past that, forgetting that you have to sit through the credits to actually get the proper New Game Plus. So I had to do hard mode with no carryover weapons, which was a problem. I on my own Discord, I went by Carpet Man for a while because that was what we were referring to. Was it Giemel, I think, is the one who's on the... rides the little rectangle, looks like he's riding a carpet all around the room, and I just got locked in there for a while, but... We eventually got through it. It was a great time. I have not tried to do a speedrunning event since, just because it is maybe not quite where I belong there. But even more than that was so in, I think it was 2018, maybe 2017. Mega Man Fully Charged came out, and
right.
We got into it. We were like, hey, the first 10 episodes come out. We went into it with a very low view of the show, because we saw those original, like, oh, here's the announcement, and it's this like low-grade ping tuber artwork of sideways, Aki as Mega Man, and then they're like, yeah, there's Mega Mini who lives in his helmet.
Guy living in his head, like,
yeah. We saw the description, it's like, what is happening? This is the weirdest shit possible. And so we watched the episodes. Yeah, right. They made Ben 10. So we watched the show and we watched the 10 episodes in quick succession, and by the end of it, we're like, this is actually kind of an okay show. Like the animation wasn't like incredible, at least at the start. It was very like big blocky things that were on the screen that were moving around, and like, but the art was noticeably getting better even over the course of the first 10 episodes, and we're like, okay, all right. Let's keep watching this. So we started doing reaction videos to those and to the entire series, all 52 half-size episodes. And we discovered through the grapevine, partly through some comments that were left on our videos, and then eventually on like Twitter and stuff as well, and then to our email, the animators for the show had found us during the production of the show and were watching our reaction videos to the show. To the point where apparently it was very common that the show aired, I think Sunday mornings at 6:15 a.m. Cartoon Network did them so dirty.
Good time slot.
Maybe the worst time slot I've ever heard of. And they did this so they could air 17 back-to-back reruns of Teen Titans Go. So
Of course, you got to do
cool job there. But yeah, we found out that literally what would happen is we would put up our reaction videos that Sunday. We would do it. I would edit it. They would go up that day because I'm like, we were getting crazy views. So we're like, all right, people clearly are into this. And we discovered that on Monday morning in the office, people would hang out, they would talk, and then someone would go, hey, did you see the new D-pad video? And inevitably someone would go, oh God, I haven't, don't tell me anything. And then they would go run off to their desk to watch. It was the most humbling and flattering thing I've ever experienced with our time on the D-pad, and it is like there are people that I talk with now on a pretty regular basis who were involved with that, and it's really maybe one of my most cherished memories in my life. So
I liked their interpretation of Dr. Light. I thought they were going somewhere good with him.
Yeah, oh man, I feel so bad that like they had a plan. I I don't want to say too much, but like there were season 2 plans. Some of them went into the comic, some of them didn't. There was a lot of criticism of their handling of certain characters that was definitely hey, we're setting something up for later that didn't come to fruition, so they kind of got screwed there. But also, there's a lot of folks who never watched the show, which I get, because like from the outside you look at it and you go, that doesn't look like Mega Man at all.
Right.
It was the point. Like it got I had it confirmed personally from folks who worked on it that like Capcom pretty specifically told them, hey, don't just try to make the games into a cartoon. Don't just copy the thing over. Try to take like a different stance on it. You know, go with new designs for Robot Masters, go with new designs for Mega Man. Like try to make this something like completely distinct.
Yeah.
And they went for it. And I think they did a very good job of making it stand apart from all of the rest of Mega Man, but it definitely put some people away from it, or put them off of it, which I understand. But yeah, I'm curious. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, just I had heard that about like Capcom saying, do something of your own, but I wonder if they went a little too far in another direction. Also, Man of Action, like they just do like weird stuff. Like I don't know if you saw Sonic Prime, but I was like,
yeah,
it was just. This doesn't have to be a Sonic cartoon. This is really weird. What like why do I want like a baby Eggman? I just don't want these things.
Yeah. The what was it? The Chaos Council, I think, is the five Eggmen. That was an interesting choice. We're still actually working our way through it, but that was definitely one of the first things that jumped out to me on that show. Was like, okay, this is a weird call. The rest of it so far, I'm like, all right, I can get behind this. 9 is actually awesome. I think 9 is a great interpretation of Tails.
Yeah, I kind of like him.
The Chaos Council was one where I was like, this is weird. The more the baby is off screen, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Good rule. The more the baby's off screen, the better.
It was the same for me with Peter Punkowski on Mega Man Fully Charged.
Was he the nerd?
He was the nerd who like he kept having little booger shots.
Yeah, that was
like,
that was
please stop. I believe Peter Punk, Burt Wiley, voiced both by, I hope I'm getting the right actors for this, I'll feel terrible if I get it wrong, voiced, I believe, by Cole Howard, who was the voice for Mega Man back in Mega Man Powered Up.
Yeah.
Wow.
On the PSP. Yeah.
Neat.
Very good.
Yeah.
The wheel of life turns.
I never got a chance to watch Fully Charged because Cartoon, like you said, Cartoon Network did it dirty. Like it was one of those things where if it's not Teen Titans Go, they don't give a shit.
Yeah. It was bad, really, really obnoxious, because they changed the schedules every couple of weeks for a while. They were changing when the show was airing, so they didn't even give people a chance to find it in the first place. It was really poorly handled.
I think we had to pirate it, Shock, because it's just like there's no way we're finding it. I don't even know if we got it up here. Maybe we did. Maybe it was Family Channel. I don't remember, but yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah, because down here in the States, it was Cartoon Network, and I think eventually Boomerang. Like they really shoved it off to the side as hard as they could.
Because like Boomerang to die.
I heard the show. I heard the show was originally supposed to be on Disney XD, but then Disney backed out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. It's honestly, I mean, it speaks to. And so, like, it just barely preceded what I think would be, like, the current era of streaming platform, like, management. But, like, there's a part of me that's like, hey, Cartoon Network / Max, I guess, owns Cartoon Network, right? So, like, hey, this stuff could go up onto the streaming platform, but now, but we've got streaming platforms that are making shows and then just deleting them from existence when they're tired of them. So I can't imagine that they would have done them any better in like a Disney Plus, HBO Max kind of era either.
Yeah.
Sure.
So in terms of fondest memories with Mega Man for me, like one of them I could think of was like when I was playing X4 and like my brother and I were absolutely into the game. Like we both bonded over that game. We both beaten the game with X and Zero. Though it took me till years later to actually perfect how I played the game by getting everything, all the sub tanks, all the heart tanks, all the upgrades, everything for both characters. Although Zero does not get the upgrades that X does, but
Yeah.
but still, like X4 like was the game that my brother and I both bonded over with when it comes to Mega Man. Kind of the same thing with Legends 1, but not as much as X4. And then like the thing is I was way more into Mega Man than like my brother liked Mega Man, but I was more into Mega Man than he was. But for me also that another fond memory that I could probably think of when it comes to Mega Man was that I actually got to meet Keiji Inafune back in New York Comic Con in 2010.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was there. Unfortunately, I didn't have a smartphone at the time, so there's no picture of me with Inafune. And this was like weeks before he quit Capcom.
Oh, nice.
This was weeks
Wow,
before.
that's
Public
exciting.
appearance. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
right before he quit Capcom. And now it's like, though now I don't really speak highly of Keiji Inafune these days, because and especially with some of the more recent stuff that popped
Yeah.
up regarding some of the former Marvel vs. Capcom devs that talked about like what they wanted to do with Roll, and I'm like, yikes.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
Yeah. That's a revelation from like this past week, isn't it?
Yeah, like I found out about that. I'm like, ugh. The other thing also is that another fun, but yeah, let's talk more about fond memories. All right, so fond memories. Also, another, but I will say back then it was a fond memory back then because I did get to meet Inafune. It was actually a cool moment.
Sure.
And yeah, like I thought that was really cool. Another one I will bring up would be that I actually enjoyed like just meeting a lot of people in general who have the same passion and enthusiasm regarding Mega Man. This one's a more recent one, I would say. PAX East 2023, when I actually got to watch that panel that you and were on, 112 and
Yeah.
and Rhythm were on it. That was great.
That was a good panel. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yes, and if there's another one, like, because I'm hoping to go to MagFest this year, and if there's another panel, I definitely want to watch that.
I like put in like, hey, why don't we have actually the Blood God as guests? But I haven't heard back. So if anyone from MagFest is listening to this, have us as guests. We're good guests. We're all experienced with like conventions and stuff.
Yes. So yeah,
I
those
want
are
to go at least for a day. MagFest. This is like right close to me. I live nearby.
Oh man.
well if you
Last year, I barely managed to catch the 112's panel. Like I was desperately, I had to get to a flight, and I was like, all right, if I can leave in 1 hour and just barely make it in time. I'm very glad I stuck around.
Yep. Yeah. Because like I will say, like, if you guys go to MagFest this coming January, like, let me know. Like
Absolutely.
I still got to figure a lot of things out, but
Same.
but I know like the hotel situation, just like every other year from what I hear, is shit.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
But-
And the badges are 4-day badges now. It's not like I don't think they do single day passes anymore.
Yeah.
If I'm not
bad.
mis- yeah, I think it's just 4-day passes.
Yeah, it's like they want you to go all days, but that's just how it is. And yeah, I'm just making sure that when I go, like, I gotta talk to my friends. I gotta see if there's room for the hotel, because everybody, there's a big group chat that I'm a part of, but I gotta see how everyone feels about it. Because my brother used to go to MagFest every year. and then like eventually like he took a break from it, and also pandemic, and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
That's why I stopped.
Yeah, and then it's like, then it came back in 2022 when MagFest came back. Unfortunately, it was during Omicron, but it was too late to cancel or postpone it. So, but apparently people who went had a great time. It's just they had to make sure to protect
good.
themselves. But yeah, if I go to MagFest this year, it's gonna be this coming year is gonna be my first MagFest. Never got a chance to go. I've mainly gone to PAX East, but never gone to MagFest. But that's gonna change. So the next question is, where do you think the Mega Man series will go next? And that's something that I would like to know in general.
Oh my god.
All right, so Nadia, what do you think the Mega Man series will go next?
I have no idea, and it is so frustrating because it shouldn't be like that. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I of course I came from the time, and we probably all remember the time when Capcom kind of went like with the blunderbuss and started shooting Mega Man stuff everywhere. And we got some bad games during that time, and I completely understand that maybe it devalued the property. But I also understand that Capcom, for a long time, they were hesitant to touch Mega Man because of what's in Ifune's property is probably cursed. So then Mega Man 11 came out, and it's done quite well. And I don't understand why there's been like such a hesitation to give us a new game. Like, I would kill someone for a new X game. I just want a new X game. Like, I remember seeing the trailer for X8 in 2004, like some like crappy ass download that from E3 that year, and that's the last we saw of Mega Man X for a very long time. And even if it came out now and said like, "Hey everyone, X9," everyone would be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, I don't know. Somehow you could pull that with the original Mega Man, but not so much with X. So I don't know. I want to have an X game next. So
Yeah, like I would
waiting.
I would also like a new Mega Man X game.
Yeah, I could really deal with that. But with the way that the Battle Network collection sold so well, maybe, they'll want to do another Battle Network game or something in that vein. I don't know. I hope it's next game. That's about it.
Yep. What about you, Rick?
Oh boy. I mean, so first thoughts on where it'll go. Where it'll go next is continued endless cross promotion.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Yep.
Low key staggering. Right.
Don't worry, you'll have
Mega
stuff
Man
to
is
buy.
right. Mega Man is everywhere. Mega Man merch is everywhere. To the point where it's like, okay, cool. People are buying stuff. Like perhaps another game, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
I was so certain when Mega Man 11 got announced and came out that like it came out and it did really well. And I remember immediately after it came out hearing that it's doing crazy numbers, people going, holy shit, it might beat the record. It might actually break through, which it's so depressing in some ways because like I feel like everybody knows Mega Man. Everybody knows at least to some degree what or who Mega Man is. But then you look at the sales figures and it's like, oh, Mega Man sells terribly, generally speaking.
Right? Yeah.
The best-selling game until 2018 sold 1.5 million units, which is like a bad Resident Evil or a bad Street Fighter or a bad any other Capcom franchise.
Yeah.
So like I get to a certain extent why they had so little confidence in Mega Man going into the 2010s when like I think ZX Advent sold like 50,000 units or something.
Yeah,
like
abysmal.
horrible numbers, like objectively just bad. But like I don't know, I was so certain when 11 came out and did so well, and it was the Star Force team apparently that worked on it, so like the most recent in-house Mega Man team. I was like, oh, sick. This is great. They're going to greenlight a 12 like that. We're going to see that like 2020-ish maybe, or maybe another series. And then like it's been radio. So we're almost, I think a year and change from now will make the drought since Mega Man 11 longer than the drought between 10 and 11. Like it's crazy.
That's pathetic.
It's awful.
It absolutely
is. I know
is.
that there was the pandemic, which maybe derailed some plans, but we could get some plan's back on track.
Right, there was that rumored the Mega Man Tyson, I think, that's been
Maybe Taizo or Tyson or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's been floating around for years at this point. And like I think up until about 2022, it was like, okay, pandemic slowed some stuff down, and now it's like, okay, it's been another 2 years since then. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna make the not at all, I think, controversial call that they're never gonna try to bridge the gap between any of the generations. From like a fan game standpoint, I've had a fan game that I was working on back in high school that I never actually made, that was like a little connective tissue between Classic and X, and like,
Of course, yeah.
they're awesome for like fanficky ideas, but Capcom is never ever going to make a conclusive thing to one of those.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I thought Dive was also going to last longer.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love Dex Dive, man.
I feel like we were all kind of like sideswiped by them going, oh yeah, the online version is done.
It's done,
Like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Okay.
So-
Goodbye.
So like, I don't know. I think a Mega Man 12 is the easiest thing for them to make, especially if they just use a modified 11 engine, which shouldn't be too crazy. I would love an X9. I'd be there's a part of me be surprised if they did another Battle Network game. Maybe they do like a Battle Network patched or something, like, and now we're following Patch Akari and like maybe Uncle Mega Man or something.
Yep.
But like, because like Battle Network 6 and 04 are the only ones that have like a conclusive, like, this is the end.
Ending, yeah.
Yes, like 04 is about as conclusive as you could possibly get, and Battle Network 6 literally ends with the text "Mega Man Battle Network End," and it's like, okay, we're done. But like, yeah, Battle Network Legacy Collection did really well. Did amazingly well for Mega Man. I would love a Star Force 4. 3 is easily the best of those 3 games, and it sold awfully, and I feel like they're allergic to it. But like, I also I've been going through the 5 stages of grief in some ways with Mega Man Legends.
Yeah.
Because I've reached the point where I'm pretty comfortable accepting that we're probably never going to get Mega Man Legends 3. I think it was too inextricably tied into Keiji Inafune personally.
It was really his baby.
It really was. And like, for better or for worse, it'd be really difficult to make something, at least with like the story that was being crafted is all his. And like, but I think the timing of it, Keiji leaving, and also just like all of the iffy stuff that's gone on since then, like you were saying before, and like the current stuff with Roll, very gross and weird. There is, I'm of the personal opinion that he may have tried a mild amount of Kickstarter money laundering between Mighty Number 9 and Red Ash. Like,
I was wondering about that.
Well,
yeah, it's still. I was just gonna say it's still all very speculative on my part, but I did some like deep dives back when Mighty Number 9 and Red Ash were coming out, and like the more I looked into it, the more I was like, they probably ran out of money for Mighty Number 9, and this was their way to just inject some cash. The idea was Mighty Number 9 was going to sell really well, and they quietly put the money back in the Red Ash pot. And then Mighty Number 9 didn't really sell very well. And then Red Ash, the game, got a bunch of funding from a Chinese company that came out of nowhere in the middle of the Kickstarter. Never heard thing one about the game. The animation came and went very quietly. Like, people barely heard that it existed at all.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know. I think, and then he got into NFTs and stuff after that. So like,
He did, yes.
I think anything that feels like it's connected to Inafune personally, I think Capcom's gonna just kind of put to bed for good.
They will. But
yeah.
But if there's one silver lining to all of that regarding Keiji Inafune, at least he did not have the same fate as Yuji Naka.
I was debating whether or not to bring up Yuji Naka, the 2-year
Stop short
prison
of jail.
sentence.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Good for him.
Holy cow.
But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
That's a topic, all right.
Yes. So Squez, what do you think Mega Man's gonna go?
Oh man, whatever the answer I'm gonna tell you, I don't like it. Like, it just, I think, to piggyback off what Rick said, I think they're gonna want to wash away with everything Inafune's done, and I think that to be honest, I think it's on life support. Like, I think they just kind of, for guys like us who love Mega Man, for people like us who just enjoy the Blue Bomber and everything, all this stuff that's come out in the past 35 years, like, they're just gonna keep pushing out like things, but not an actual game. And like, it hurts my soul to say that, because it's just such a good franchise, and they have so much to work with, but they're just not. They're just not gonna do anything with it. Like if Battle Network didn't resuscitate like plans for the franchise, I don't think there's nothing else that they could like unless they bring out Mega Man Legends 3. But like you said, like the chances of that are very. I'm already past the acceptance phase. I just kind of block it out now at this point.
Yeah.
Like
I'll be thrilled if they surprise us down the line, but I'm expecting a 0 at this point.
Yeah, and they didn't even give us Star Force in that collection, which I think is a big miss. I said that earlier.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think it's one like it's part of the series, and they didn't even give it to us as like bonus content or anything like that. Like the anniversary collection.
Introduce it.
Yeah, and the anniversary collection had the Power Fighters as well, and that's like part of the franchise as well. And those little things that they could have done, they didn't do it, and I just kind of feel like they're just gonna keep that nostalgic kind of rope, that tug to kind of keep people there, but not really put anything with effort out.
Capcom's very good at doing that. They have a lot of franchises that Hello, Breath of Fire. I've been a fan since 1995, and I go screw myself, apparently.
I have a sad question to follow up from Squez with, because I think we've all kind of touched on like the merchandising angle of Mega Man, and that's kind of where he's at now. Is Mega Man the Garfield of video games in 2024?
I hope so.
Because like
Very memeable.
so much product, very memeable, but it's like, all right, how about some more though?
Not
I
as
think
much.
Garfield at least still has a comic going.
Not as much of a Garfield as Castlevania, but Castlevania, that's another topic in general. But yeah, like, what do I think Mega Man's gonna go? Mega Man. Well, here's where I think Mega Man's gonna go. I do think it's gonna come back, and here's the thing. People need to understand that, like, people who think that Keiji Inafune is the one who single-handedly created him, no, he did not.
No, he did not. No.
No, Akira Kitamura was the one who did it. He and for a while he kind of disappeared after like some of the games he made after he left Capcom did not do that great. And now he's pretty much back. He's been talking on Twitter. He can't exactly like confirm nor deny anything in regards to doing anything with Mega Man anytime soon. He can't really say anything, but he does answer a lot of questions on Twitter whenever people ask him about like his time at Capcom and the games he's done. Basically that.
Oh.
Yeah. So the thing with Mega Man is Mega Man will return. Like Capcom has been bringing a lot of their older IPs back. Like I know that they brought like Street Fighter was in a lull, and
it really was.
now Street Fighter is doing great with Street Fighter 6. Resident Evil was kind of not doing too great. Like once we hit the HD generation, once we got to Resident Evil, like with Resident Evil 5, which had mixed reception, and then we got up to 6. And then afterwards, all the spin-offs were not great, like Operation Raccoon City and then Umbrella Corps. And then when you got to 7, that's where things... Like, 7 was basically what... Not only the game that got Resident Evil back on track, but actually got Capcom as a whole back on track. Because afterwards, we got Monster Hunter World. We got Devil May Cry 5. We got Mega Man 11. We got Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Which the fact that
the RE engine really helped.
The RE engine,
yeah, that thing is being used everywhere.
Exactly. Like the fact that, and I'm hoping that the next Mega Man game that comes out uses the RE engine.
I've seen there's a demo or something that someone has like tried. Like Capcom has been like doing, Mega Man 11 stuff or just dicking around with Mega Man stuff in the RE engine, which I take as a good sign.
Yeah, it's basically like some sort of a seminar with students. So the thing, I feel like something is in the works. My speculation. A lot of people are going to probably say something to me, but I don't care. I have a feeling they have something in the works, but they're waiting on one company to do something. I think they're waiting on Nintendo. Why? Because Mega Man generally does better on Nintendo than anywhere else. I do think that they have something and they're just waiting on Nintendo. Then they'll be like, oh, and by the way, it's coming out on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam as well. But Nintendo is the focus. Even though Capcom primarily makes their games mostly on PC first these days, everything else comes afterwards or around the same time. But PC is the main platform that they are working on with their games. That being said, I do think that Mega Man is going to come back in the future. It's just that I get it. I understand the frustration for a lot of people that people don't like waiting this long. Like, I know, but no, I will say the circumstances of where we were back in the 2010s up until like when Mega Man 11 came out and afterwards, I don't think it's the same thing because before that was the fact that Keiji Inafune left Capcom, and then they just didn't know exactly what to do. Like nobody. It seems to me like with Capcom that they need to have somebody to come up and say, "I have something, and I'm willing to work on it if you guys give me the chance to do so." I mean, it's what happens with like some of their other games. Like if people have an idea, if people are adamant that they think that this is going to work, they're going to go ahead and do that. And the thing with Mega Man 11, it's like, I think it's at 1.9. It might be 2 million already. If it's not a 2 million, it's close.
Very close.
Very close. And people got to understand, in the 2000s, there was a huge saturation of Mega Man as a whole. People got to remember that there's like a oversaturation of Mega Man. Like 2003 alone, this is what released in 2003. We got Mega Man Battle Network 3 coming out that year. Both the white and blue versions.
There's just two games,
Yes, two versions.
The suddenly Pokemonized version of it, yeah.
We got Mega Man and Base for the Game Boy Advance. We got Mega Man 02 for Game Boy Advance. We got Mega Man Network Transmission for the GameCube.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Mega Man X7 for the PlayStation 2.
Oh, boy.
All of that.
It's a really mixed bag right there.
Yeah.
All of that was 2003 because that was when Capcom was celebrating 15 years of Mega Man. Not to mention the fact that 2003 was also when we got the Mega Man NT Warrior anime released in North America on Kids WB. So
also cut down in its prime overseas, sadly.
Yes, like we only got up to Access. Like they did not continue it afterwards because. And the thing is,
shame. Stream is a really good season. Access and Stream are like legitimately an awesome arc of that show, and they cut it off halfway through.
Yeah. And then there were years where they would have multiple Mega Man games released. And Mega Man was pretty much competing with itself. It just wasn't good. And then it's like when we got the hiatus from 2011 to 2018. If you don't count collections, because Mega Man Legacy Collection came out in 2015 on consoles and 2016 on the 3DS. And in 2017, I believe, was Legacy Collection 2, which the Switch got both of them in 2018 because that was when we were getting Mega Man 11, so naturally Capcom will start releasing collections because Capcom was kind of like not really wanting to support the Switch at first, and then they gave us that overpriced version of Ultra Street Fighter 2, and their support depended on that game's success, which ended up being like 500,000 copies, and that was more than enough to support it. And now Capcom actually likes supporting the Switch, but some of the games they're releasing on the current platforms would not run well on Switch. So something like Monster Hunter Wilds would not run well on Switch. Maybe on Switch too, but definitely not on Switch. But I hope they do have something Mega Man related happening.
That should be grand.
We'll see.
A Mega Man launch title for Switch 2 would make some people's fucking year.
Yeah, make mine.
Make mine. Yeah.
Yep. Now, let's talk about the last thing before we go into the community questions. How much does the Mega Man series mean to you? And Rick, we'll go with you first.
Oh boy. I mean, like I could sit and talk about Mega Man literally all day. We're kind of doing it a little bit right now. Like, it's I was so shocked in college because it was the first time that I went and actually looked to see how well Mega Man games were doing, and I was stunned at how bad they sold because I was like, wait, but doesn't everybody love Mega Man? Like, Mega Man is awesome, and all of these games are so cool, and they give us so many of them. How could you not love Mega Man? To the point I was going to mention earlier is, like, if you really ever want to, like, sober up from a particular, like, Mega Man high, look at how Mega Man games in the mid 2000s were getting reviewed by, like, IGN or whoever. It was brutal. They eviscerated Mega Man, essentially going, oh look, it's another Mega Man game. Like, it's the most like concise way to just obliterate Mega Man in review form, and it hurt to see. But, like, I've got so many just memories of, like, playing with friends and playing by myself, and, like, a perfect world to me, Mega Man wise, maybe not like 2003 levels, but, like, there was a point where there were usually, like, at least one or two, sometimes three Mega Man games in different series all coming out in the same year, and they weren't designed as, like, nowadays we're kind of waking up from our open world fugue state where every other game has to be a 200-hour experience, whereas, like, Mega Man as a franchise, outside of, like, Legends and actually I guess maybe the ZX games, the rest of them are all, like, so, like, nice and bite-sized little, like, tasty experiences. They're the truffles of video games, where, like, you can sit down, you can play for a couple hours, get a really, like, rich, fun experience, feel like you got what you came for, and be able to, like, yeah, cool, maybe tomorrow I'll play a different one. And, like, I one of the best moments for me was watching there was, oh hey, Smash Brothers, there's a new announcement, and then it's the silhouette of Mega Man against the moonlight. And then, like, before it even zoomed in, I was like, wait, no, is that Mega Man? And, like, it felt so nice. It felt like validation that anybody else cared about Mega Man. And, like, it's I don't know. Mega Man means the world to me. Mega Man and Sonic are probably my two favorite series.
Yeah, me too.
Nice. Oh, that kicks ass. Yeah. That's awesome. It, like, they've both been through the ringer and then some. Yeah. So, like, I'm hoping I'm never going to 100% give up on Mega Man, even as bad as things have kind of looked in the last couple of years. But, like, at the very least, them merchandising Mega Man means they're still at least thinking about Mega Man, which means at least one person in some boardroom is still going, hey, how about Mega Man for blah, blah, blah. So, like, I don't know. I think if we're very lucky, nostalgia in some ways will help Mega Man come back too. Not so much in, like, the kind of cash grabby way, which it kind of feels like at times right now, but, like, you know, stuff comes in cycles. I mean, I'm 37. I grew up playing Mega Man. I think we're all kind of in the same general ballpark, but, like, we all grew up playing Mega Man, and there are people who are our age who are involved in stuff at Capcom in, you know, on all corners of the globe. More folks who grew up with this are going and have that deep love for Mega Man are going to kind of congregate in a way where it's like, hey, what if we bring back Mega Man for real this time? So, like, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And I hope that we keep playing Mega Man games for countless years to come. Yeah. We've got plenty to choose from right now. But, you know, I would love to see new stuff coming out of there. So, yeah.
And my posters in the wall, like, because I have, like, 3 Mega Man posters, and I also have, like, right over there the picture of the Nintendo Power issue from Mega Man X.
Oh, nice. Yeah. The one with the silver cover on it normally.
Yes.
That was cool.
Yeah. Squez, your turn. How much does Mega Man mean to you?
Oh man, it means the world to me. Like Rick said, like, it means so much. It's like not as a like for me as a streamer, it's done so much for me because like you could play Mega Man. There's a Mega Man game for everybody, literally everybody. Like if you want like a turn-based, kind of RPG style, you have Battle Network, you have Mega Man X Command Mission. If you want like add Mega Man Legends to the list, and you want a platformer, you have the whole classic series and like the X series. Like if you want something that's like more mechanically challenging, like the Zero series, like there's a Mega Man game for everybody, and that's what I enjoy. I will say, like since we haven't really talked about this, I want to give like a personal shout out to all the indie developers in the past few years that have made some of like the best like 20XX, 30XX, the Bird Boy, Metagal, Black Guy. There's so many Luminous, Gunvolt Avenger. Like it's Azure Striker Gunvolt. Like there's so many like good games that we've gotten from just from the ideology of Mega Man, and it's just been so crazy to be like being able to enjoy those things, even though we don't actually have a Mega Man game out. Like I've been so fond of these indie games and the indie developers that have like put the time and effort and passion that they have for Mega Man into their projects, and you could see it. Like there's plenty of games that are like pretty obvious, like 20XX and 30XX are pretty obvious that like we implemented like roguelike mechanics, but obviously the main characters look like Mega Man and Proto Man. Like another thing is back to the topic of like being cash grabby. To be honest, I kind of would take that as a W. Like I would love a Mega Man game. Give me Mega Man Powered Up 2 through 7.
Seriously,
give me those games. Like especially if you want to introduce Mega Man to a newer generation. No one's gonna like we're fine. We are fine with like no voice acting, like small text boxes, and weird menuing. We're used to it. We grew up with it. But for newer gamers, they don't have that. You know what I mean? Like that. Give us a game that has voice acting. Powered Up has voice acting. Maverick Hunter X has voice acting. They're pretty easy games to really just translate because you already have the basis with using 2 and 7 there. Yep. You could just make a powered up version. Update the animation and get a couple of voice actors together, and you could just sell that off. I'd be happy with it. I'd be happy with the Mega Man Powered Up too. Like, I don't want to say I'd pay $60 for it, but that's probably like the counterpoint to what I'm saying. But because I don't think I would. But if you put it in like a collection, charge me $80, I would do it. I would do it.
Oh yeah,
like. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be a good experience, especially for newer gamers too. Like,
absolutely, yes, absolutely.
I'm kind of amazed between the like. There's such a huge Mega Man community in general, but especially in like the fan gaming side of things, there's some really huge stuff. You got like Perfect Blue has been kind of going for Mega Man Unlimited, all of the like all these different things. But then you've also got stuff like Mega Man 7, 8, and base D-makes. That are all really cool. I'm amazed that. At least as far as I'm aware, maybe I'm wrong on this, I don't think anybody has properly tried to like. I would imagine a Powered Up 2 could be done if you like did it essentially as a mod to the original, like rebuild, rework some of that stuff in the same vein as like mods that are done with like classic and even some modern games get some pretty intense mods to them. So like I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Powered Up have like a level maker, a stage?
It did. Yes.
The server only recently shut down, as I understand it.
Yeah, I think it was either
preservation effort for it.
It was this year or last year that the servers shut down, but yeah, like it lasted a long time. Yeah, Powered Up. The funny thing I'll say is that Capcom almost made a sequel to Power Up. Well, kind of. Mega Man Universe for PS3 360. Right. Man, I wish that game didn't get canceled. I actually tried it.
That looks like so much fun.
I tried it at New York Comic Con because they had a demo, and I thought it was really fun. They were giving out inflatable Arthur's lances, which unfortunately I don't have it anymore. But yeah, like that would have been great. Like I would have bought that the moment it was supposed to come out in 2011, and it got canceled. It was after Keiji Inafune left, but just like how Legends 3 got canceled. People talked about Legends 3 being the only game, but it was actually Universe, and then there was another game called Maverick Hunter for the 3DS, which was supposed to be a reboot in a Metroid Prime style. And
Right. That looked kind of terrible.
that
I'll be honest,
one,
those designs reminded me so much of Bomberman Zero more than
Yes.
anything else, and I was just like, oh god.
yeah,
It felt a bridge too far. Like it was trying so hard to make Mega Man into this edgy thing, and it's like that's not where he belongs. I'm a
Capcom
little
still
nervous.
was
Oh, go
really
ahead.
going through it. Like they were
Yeah.
just kind of ruining a lot of their franchises, like DMC, which people liked, I know, but like they didn't really
Yeah.
like how it tried to replace the original Dante, and look how gay he is, and that kind of thing. And yeah, and I'll always be angry about Final Fight being destroyed by Final Fight Streetwise. It's just so stupid.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, like yeah, Final Fight Streetwise, that was something. But but yeah, so anything else for you, Squez, before we go to Nadia?
No, that was pretty much my answer.
Okay, then how much does Mega Man mean to you, Nadia?
Oh, I mean, a whole lot. Like, probably more than any other franchise. And I've had a big history with many franchises across the years. I mean, like, I started as a writer by writing Mega Man fan fiction and kind of sharing that with friends and being terrible. And since gone on to write, like, official Mega Man stuff alongside my husband, who I met because he was one of my original fans, 1998, I think. So yeah, we have that going on, and I mean, I'm writing a book right now. It's called From Pixels to Prose. It's about like the books, about the games I played that kind of taught me how to write. And of course, there's a big chapter on Mega Man, Mega Man X. So yeah, I really go into detail there. I hope you look forward to it. I don't have a date, but it's coming very soon, hopefully by the end of the year. Yeah, so you get even more information there, but I would absolutely love to see Mega Man continue as long as I'm around.
Exactly. Same here. Like, because Mega Man means so much to me. Like the fact that just playing all these games, like I could just play through. Like the replay value is fantastic for a lot of these games. I can just go back, play, and just keep doing better each time. Like the main ones I go back to a lot are 2, X1, X4. Hell, I even go back to Mega Man 1 because that one is like I could beat that one. I want to try to beat that one in like a half hour, if so, but it's not easy. I could do like 45 to 50 minutes with no deaths, but I want to try to do like under 50 minutes, no rewinds, see what I can do. But yeah, like in terms of how much Mega Man as a whole means to me, like these games have been like they got me through a lot of like bad times, they got me through a lot of good times. And it's like if I just want something that's a comfort game, Mega Man's there. If I want something that I could absolutely enjoy, that even if it's just for like a few minutes, Mega Man's there. It's always there for me. It's like one of those things where like you have that best friend that you really want to lean on your shoulder. Mega Man's pretty much just that. Well, for me, like since I was like a kid and teen and all that, but more so like when I was older, when I was getting more and more into Mega Man, especially with the Mega Man, like with Mega Man X, I think Mega Man X might be more replayed for me than Mega Man 2. Because
Definitely.
That's the only Mega Man X game where I know exactly where everything is and how to do everything, including the Hadouken.
Yeah, same.
Whereas like some of the later Mega Man games, both classic and X, that it gets to a point where I need to use a guide just to remember everything. And that's it. So the fact that Mega Man just like we have these games, I just love everything about it. I love because if anything, like I don't remember if it was the very first Capcom series I got into. It might be, but actually it was because I got into Street Fighter after the fact. I got into Street Fighter later and everything else, but yeah, Mega Man has always been like a staple of my life and will continue to be so regardless of what Capcom is going to be doing with it. So now let's go and do the community questions, which have been asked by people on the Discord. So we're going to start off with the first one. Let me go and check it out. The first one is from Professor Icepick. Are there any Mega Man games that you played way after release that you regret not picking up when they first came out? And if so, which ones? Yes. For me, Mega Man 2. Like, I played Mega Man 2 way later, because Mega Man 2 was my first, but I wish I had Mega Man 2, like, I think that if I would have had Mega Man 2 when I was much, like, younger, like, when I was, like, maybe, like, 5 or 6, that would have been, like, the right age for me to have gotten into it, like, a lot more, and I think I would have loved it. I don't know if I would have loved Mega Man 1 as a kid.
Yeah.
But Mega Man 2 for sure. I wish I had Mega Man X1, but then again, I got a Super Nintendo later, because I got a Genesis first, but I got a Super Nintendo later. And I wish I had, at the very least, Legends 2 and Mr. Frederick's Tron, because right now they are extremely expensive.
I got them. Yeah.
Yes.
I have 2 copies because my husband.
I only have the N64 version of the first one. I would eventually like to get all of them on PlayStation, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'll just wait for a collection. And I will say, I wish I got Mega Man Battle Network 1 in 2002. Well, 2001 to 2002. Like, 2002 was when I got my GBA, because I think I might have liked it more back then compared to when I tried it in 2004, 2005. Where I was just like, yeah, I was not getting into it. I think I would have actually had the patience to have gotten through Battle Network 1 in 2002.
For sure, yeah. It was definitely a game that you would kind of play at the time. It was a really incredible new idea, but even then, people were like, I can't find a way around the stupid internet, and also the random encounter rate is off the wall, especially if you had a pirated copy. Cough, cough.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Right. they found ways to screw you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically, like, pretty much that goes for most Mega Man games because of how expensive they are in hindsight. But back then, it's like, those are my answers. So Nadia, what's yours?
Between LBD Night Train and I, we have like pretty much all the games, to be honest with you. And being a fan from pretty much the very beginning, it was just like, well, if the game's out, I'm going to play it. But we are missing a couple. Like, we don't have the Mega Man X3 cartridge, and that's one I would like because I'm very nostalgic for X3. It was the game that kind of got me to get back into X and then get on the internet and find the fandom, and it's all been downhill from there. So I'd love to have my own copy, and I'd also love to have a boxed copy because that weird-ass game has a weird-ass instruction booklet that is designed to look like a web page. And at the time, I was like, wow, this is so cool, and what a great idea. It seems so modern, and it's a Web 1.0 page. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. Please look up the instruction booklet for Mega Man X3 if you have not yet, because it's just a work of art. I do have the PC version. If you have the PC version of X3, then you're not going to get that instruction booklet. But yeah, definitely a keeper if you got it.
Mm-hmm. Rick?
Oh, boy. I would say definitely Star Force. I did not touch Star Force until I literally played Star Force 1, 2, 3 for the first time over the past like 4 years. I kind of fell off for a little bit. So like, it's funny. I fell off the handheld stuff for a little bit as we got into like the like mid 2000s, but I kept kind of playing all the other things. I was with Sonic. I played Sonic 06, and I literally stopped playing Sonic games until 2012.
Wow.
Because I was just like, I was so upset after playing that. It's like, this is what they put out. But even with Mega Man, even when things got kind of like, I found other stuff to keep playing, and I played Mega Man Legends a bunch over and over again. But like, I had Mega Man Battle Network 1, 2, and 3 when they were new, and then I just kind of stopped. I don't know why. I don't really remember what the reason for it was. I don't feel bad that I didn't play Battle Network 4 or 5 when they were new. My issues with 4 aren't even so much like, oh, you have to play it 3 times to get to the post game. It's just that the story really suffers for it. It's a skeleton that they just kind of throw slabs of meat on.
Yeah.
Go, yeah, this is a body, and it's like, not so much.
Yeah.
But Battle Network 6 is one of my favorite games in the whole franchise at this point, and I am remiss for having waited, I think, like 12 or 13 years to finally put my hands on it. I was like, oh, this kicks ass. This is really, really good.
Yeah.
I also like Beryl. I think he has a really interesting story behind him.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, I think, right, like in some ways, I think 5 kind of did him dirty a little bit. In terms of, like, he's just this dude on the side.
Guy. Yeah.
Right.
Guy.
And then 6 is like, wait, hang on. We can make him important, really, though. It's like, here we go.
I was gonna cut you off because I haven't played 6 and I only played 5. So when you were talking about Beryl, I was like, is there something that I'm missing? Because at 5, I didn't have that impression of him at all. So I didn't have that impression. I was like,
5 is definitely a little weird on that. Not to mention 5 actually has kind of a canon version and a non-canon version, thanks to interactions that happen in 6. And it's like, Team Colonel, I think, is technically the canon one, because there's things that are discussed in that come up again in 6 that would otherwise not matter at all.
Yeah.
I will say, more so than games that I wish that I had played back then, I feel bad that I took so long to get to them. They're ones that I feel that way about for the novelty and weirdness of them, like Mega Man Soccer. Awful game. It's a mess. It's literally, the ending is bugged out and it won't play. You can't get the actual ending of the game. You beat the final match and you go, I think, directly to the title screen.
That's
like
great.
They just, after like
There's a crash.
Yeah, it's just like sure.
We didn't expect anyone to get this far, so we're gonna make an ending.
Yeah. Same goes for the DOS games. Which
those are
also
legendarily bad.
Yeah, the second you're done, Rosner Labs, they did what they could, I guess. But like the second you're done, they just like back to the command prompt and like,
Actually, command prompt. Damn.
Yeah,
They
they full pull you out of it. It's honestly kind of incredible. But yeah, I guess but yeah, I guess those would probably be, and then like, I don't know, games that weren't really readily available at the time, like I think both, are there 3? They're the Wonder Swan games. Mega Man Base 2 and also Battle Network WS is also a surprisingly decent platforming game.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Hard as hell if you actually try to fight Base. Base is unbelievably difficult, but it's got like a branching platforming storyline. Like you pick your exit from the level and it decides what your next level is. Like some really cool stuff there. I wish the Wonder Swan had a presence on the West Coast, the West Coast, in the Western Hemisphere. It would have been really cool to have gotten a chance to do that at the time.
Yep. What about you, Squez?
Mine's gonna be easy. Mega Man Legends 1 and 2. I played that. I didn't play them when I was younger. I played them when I became a streamer, and I played it extensively, like one after the other. And that whole progression was just pure magic. Like the everything about it clicked. Like comically, like the bonds kind of gave me the Team Rocket vibe, you know, like, and the story was it felt like a cheeky story until like the very like last 4 minutes of 1, and then 2, it became like a super serious, like, so someone's mom's missing, and like, but the mechanics from that game and the complaints that Legends 1 had, like, vastly improved in 2, and it just felt much more smoother to play. The map was good, like, the camera controls were a little better, like, it just playing it all in one kind of sort of, like, week was just pure magic. Like, I wish I had played that when I was younger. I might not have beaten it when I was younger, but I'm pretty sure I would have enjoyed it the same. Game.
I will say, as someone who played Legends 1 when I was younger, I didn't play Legends 2 till much later. The one downside to playing it as a kid is I legitimately had nightmares upon reaching the sub-gate in Legends 1.
It's kind of scary, isn't it?
Huge tonal shift out of nowhere. It's like big, empty area, giant monsters coming out of the darkness. Legitimately kind of scary.
Yeah, Legends 2 has a pretty scary moment too, where I think it's a Fire Ruins. I can't remember the name of them, but they had like kind of like Resident Evil moment actually, where this monstrously huge Reaver bot just like breaks through the wall and tries to get you.
Yeah.
Like,
the Reaver boss,
like Mr. X.
God damn.
Yep. So next question is from Dragon. If you could design your own robot master to appear in future games, how would they be like? Basically, I'm just gonna say this right now. A robot master, I think they should actually make. I'm surprised they haven't actually gone with this, but they should make Soda Man. And it's basically
Diabetes, man.
yeah, and it would basically be like either a can or it'll probably look better if it looked like a soda can, but they'll probably make it a soda bottle. And there should be two of them, Soda Man and Pop Man. Like Soda Man would be the bottle, and Pop Man would be the can, and then the way that they would work would be it would just be some sort of like a soda, like they can shoot liquid, they explode like all the soda all over the place. So that's basically mine, like Soda Man.
I'm sold, I guess.
Yeah. Nadia?
Honestly, I would love to see another like a series of Robot Masters that kind of take the idea from Centaur Man and expand it, like have a pantheon of robot gods or something like that, like either from Greek and Roman myth or from a bunch of myths. Like actually, Mega Man Zero does all that. They pull like robots from religions and myths and stuff like that, and make kind of design around that. So I'd like to see that kind of idea with Mega Man, just like vanilla Robot Masters, except like more Centaur Men, like more less human, just more bestial.
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking more of like the Star Droids from Mega Man 5.
I was gonna bring them up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, building off that, like Pluto. I always loved Pluto's design.
Yeah.
Big fuzzy cat.
Oh yeah.
I will say, to kind of extend off of that, how familiar are you with Rockman's strategy?
Not very.
Heard of it, but haven't actually played much of it.
There's not a lot of footage online. We found ourselves in a rare opportunity. We had to figure out how to play it, which there was no help online. We put a guide together because it was so obscure. But it was a Taiwanese isometric like tactical RPG made with the Mega Man license, and the enemies. The major enemies of the game were primarily based off of the Zodiac. So you've got the 12 Zodiac as like robot masters, and there's a lot of noticeable like crossover between the Zodiac. I think they were called Constellation droids or something. Those designs and the Star droids have definite overlaps between them.
Makes sense.
I love how many crab robot masters and the like there have been over the time. They've all got the same cluster of names because it's just all right, bubble or crab or cancer. Just smash those together and that'll be some name for them.
Earth sign represent.
Yeah. So for me, I mentioned before that back in high school I was kind of coming up with ideas for a Mega Man fan game, and at the time, I was still playing Battle Network pretty avidly from the first chunk of the series, and I was like, hey, Battle Network primarily takes their net navis from classic Robot Master designs. What if I take it the other direction? What if it was a game where all the Robot Masters are based off of the net navis that so far had not been used as Robot Masters? So I had Desert Man, I had Color Man, his thing was like a paintball kind of deal. So the mechanic that I had in mind was if he shoots you with one of his multicolored bullets, it turns Mega Man that color and forces you to be stuck using just that weapon for a couple seconds, which could have some interesting dynamics to it. But I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. I actually literally, like, on the other side of my computer, I just found recently my old stuff that I scribbled down for it, including like drawn designs. Mistman I had designed after like an aerosol can with like the little like keyboard tube things as like big like stick things. So I would say literally any net navi that has not yet been a Robot Master would be great. I think Blastman is the only one that was a net navi first and then added as a Robot Master, I think, for 11 later. Yeah, so that would be my pitch, is any net navi, literally any of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I know I went out of order, but like to actually answer the question, I think so for me, like you said on Battle Network, in high school I was I'm big into football, so I loved Gridman. I had a Navi that was like Gridman and Punk, like into like one hybrid Navi.
Oh,
that
nice.
like he was blue, but his attack was like he had like a spiked football, and it was pretty sick. Cause I love football. Football's my favorite sport, and
That's awesome.
like when I was a kid, when I was in high school, that would be like my hybrid Navi. Like I didn't have a name for him or anything. I wasn't clever enough to come up with a name. I thought like Gridman and then Punk were like too cool, you know. So like I just couldn't change it. So
Punk ball.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know that they made like a sports one already, like but I would like football, I will like basketball, and because the sports one I believe was soccer. It was the one from 10, yes. But next question.
Strike Man, I think.
Strike Man, yeah.
Strike Man, yeah.
Strike
I
Man.
like his music.
Strike Man was fun. That was a cute, very gimmicky, but cute.
With the stadium theme, it worked.
Yeah, it was. I like the level. The level is beautiful.
Yeah. So, Epic Man asked this question: what is the perfect 3D Mega Man game you imagine it would be? If you want my answer, a Mega Man game, whether it's Classic, X, or if it is actually Legends 3, but in a more open world, because my idea stems from Mega Man if he was in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Basically that style of gameplay, that's what I would like to see. Mega Man in that in the style of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, stuff like that. It could be Classic, it could be X, or it could be Legends. Any of them will work. But that's mine. That's my answer. Nadia?
I'm not sure when it comes to 3D games. Like, I really like the way Legends 2 felt, but maybe like make it a little bit more like, you know, easy to play control wise, because it was a little bit clumsy in that regard. It was just the PlayStation era. I do like the idea of like a Breath of the Wild open world kind of Mega Man, although there's only a few companies I find who are really, really good at open worlds. Nintendo, Monolith Soft. I did not play Sonic Frontiers, so I don't know how good that really served as an example of, hey, here's a mascot in something resembling Breath of the Wild.
I liked it.
It was kind of like two different games sort of stapled together. I was
kind of wondering about that.
I never played it either.
The music's great.
Sonic Frontiers is my Sonic 06. That's I never played Frontiers. I just I heard mixed reviews and I was already kind of like iffy on it, and I just didn't.
I enjoyed it a whole lot, like because they mixed all the stuff from like different Sonic games put into one, and that's what they could do with Mega Man. They could just mix a lot of things and put in an open world and see how it works. But what do you guys got?
Put it in
For me,
make it fight.
Like, to continue on what you guys have said, like I think I would love. It wouldn't be a Mega Man game; it'd be a Zero game, but like a From Software Zero game, like open world.
That'd be amazing. I'd play the shit out of that.
Like it'd be cool. Like I think, but for me, I'm kind of like I have polarizing tastes, like depending on my mood at the moment. So like I would love freaking Mega Man tactics game, like where like, you know, where you just have like a bunch of stats, and like obviously Mega Man doesn't have, like, he doesn't have powers. You have like the robot masters on your team, kind of like Team Colonel, but executed differently in a more JRPG style, like turn-based like game. I would love that. What else? Like, I'd love to see, like, the way they do. I want Mega Man to headline one of those crossover games, like Cross Edge or Project Zone. I would love Mega Man to be like the forefront, the main character of those kinds of games. Because I love cross promotion in all forms. Like I get sad when like my games like Resident Evil, like they used to do it, they don't do it no more. Like they don't, like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis or the remake to Resident Evil 3, they had like the Mega Man statuette, but Resident Evil doesn't do cross promotion. But Monster Hunter has like almost everything. Like they have all Resident Evil stuff and Mega Man stuff, and like I love cross promotion. I love it.
Rathalos Armor X is so freaking amazing.
Yeah,
I want that in a game.
Yeah.
There's a game.
A
Monster Hunter X crossover.
Yeah.
I'd love to have that.
X Dive, man. X Dive was a good game to me. I liked it. I don't like how the microtransaction portions of it I don't really like, but
yeah.
Like obviously those games have to run if they're gonna keep making new things. But like I love the cross promotion in that game. Like you have Dr. Light in the Ryu armor, like all the
Yeah.
Christmas, like all the Christmas and Halloween, all the promotion, the
Wedding.
Rathalos armors, Sonogra Iris, like they're. I love that time. I think that was a really good game. That like if I imagine myself making a Mega Man game, it would probably be something closer to that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. Mr. Ben asks, what do you feel about the various Mega Man animated series? Would you like to see any more of them, and why or why not? I know that we were just talking about Mega Man Fully Charged, but yes, give me more. That's all I can
I'll
say.
watch 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could go for either flavor, honestly. Ruby Spears I really enjoyed. I would love to see a more like true to the series version of it, but Fully Charged was also a neat twist on the formula too. I would be super happy with either take, being something that gets experimented with. And NT Warrior as well, which I guess falls kind of closer to Ruby Spears in terms of like trying to tie it into the games.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, give me a Mega Man Zero anime. I think that's the one that could be
Seriously.
very.
Yeah.
There's like a large gap of time in between, like, because I think what was it? It's supposed to be 100 years between, like, I think Legends and Zero. I could be wrong.
X and Zero.
X and Zero, yeah.
Legend is
21X
way into the future.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. But yeah, give me something that bridges that gap or something like, I think it'd be sick. Because I think Zero did the best as far as storytelling. It had some comical things, but it was very serious. I'd love to see Dr. Weil, his backstory. Like,
Well, especially with like Castlevania being having such a presence on like Netflix and stuff, I think there's
Yeah.
definitely room for like a dramatic, Mega Man Zero anime style take on that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Rick, just want to make sure. I hope I did not skip you regarding the last question, but
No. I think I mostly would have like said the same thing as everybody else, which is like, yeah, I like the idea of an open world situation, especially you could very easily be like, he's Dr. Wily's attack or whoever is attacking the entire city, but all right,
Yeah.
here, take this. It's a new technology. Set it here, and you can warp yourself over, like make the teleporting part of your fast travel. Like you can already warp into bases in a bunch of those games, and X7 is the wrong way to go. Legends is at least closer, but yeah, Legends in the early PlayStation days, a little stiff, a little clunky. If Legends 3 were to ever happen, I think the way they'd want to do it is to re-release the 3 games that came before, probably best with a bit of a new coat of paint on it to update it for modern 3D gaming sensibilities, I think. But like, yeah, I think something in that ballpark would be kind of the way to go.
Yep. But yeah, next one, let's see. Dari asks, if you could have a side game with any character from a Mega Man game, who would you use and what kind of game would it be? A classic series game with Proto Man. Just Proto Man.
That'd be cool. I'd play that.
How about like a Proto Man game that takes place like around the time, like sometime before or after Mega Man 11? Like basically something that explains his absence as to why he's not in Mega Man 11.
Yeah, because that was a ripoff, but he wasn't there.
He should have been
Bass
there.
was Yeah.
Doubly so with the haunting kind of. There's always been bubbling under the surface his damaged power
reactor.
core.
Yeah.
It's implied
so
strongly
nuclear.
that sooner or later he's either gonna blow up or just shut down. So like, yeah, anytime we don't see him, it's like, oh no.
Yep.
Is he okay?
Yeah, is he out there? Is he
Dead.
cool? He's just taking a nap.
Yeah.
That's a tough question though.
Yeah, it is actually. Like, I mean, Proto Man. If I was gonna say, feels like the easy answer, but it's like there's a lot of characters that, or robot masters, or robots themselves, like that you could make a side game off of, like that has like some sort of like attachment to them.
I could to go with like another Zero series, like even
Yeah.
like say put another timeline. Like we still don't know anything about the Elf Wars. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
biometals. And,
How about an Axel? How about a set of Axel
I was
games?
gonna say Axel. Yeah.
Somewhere
I
in
would play an actual
between.
game.
I'd be down for that. You
Yeah, everyone
kind
makes
of got it
them
a
out.
little with ZX Advent, but like it'd
Yeah.
be very cool to have like an Axel, a full. I think X8 kind of messed with people's heads a little bit by, or is it
Yeah.
7? Whichever one I think it was 7, the one where you start as Axel in 0 and you have to earn Mega X back.
Yes, that was X7.
Yeah.
That was my great
Yeah.
choice.
It's an
That's not a
interesting.
great design choice.
It's had in a sea of bad design choices for that game.
Yeah, that
How
was
about we
the number
don't?
one.
Yeah, let's not include the title character for the last 6 games.
Right,
Yep.
write it down. Let's keep going.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a hard question.
it is a hard question.
That's
though.
really
It's really hard. Like,
Proto Man EXE is also a possibility. I could say,
Yeah.
like,
He's
just
cool
just
character,
like like just a different kind of experience as a spin on the other one, where it's like, all right, here's Chod, as the anime calls
Oh
him.
God, I wanted to kill myself. I'm sorry. Like, as a Canadian, you don't like. I'm not fluent by any stretch of the imagination, but
Yeah,
we do learn French for many years, like in our curriculum. So I understand. Like, I look at a word and say, okay, it has that accent. My husband from America is just like saying it in complete, just mangles it the way that they did Chod and Freud.
Chod Blaze. Yeah, Dr. Freud.
Probably Dr. Freud. Do you know who Dr. Freud actually is? Do you really want to associate? All right, whatever. Because he can't say show. He can't say foi. It's all right.
I could at least understand people going with like showed the feminine variant on show instead,
Yeah.
but like even still, it's like Chod. Like,
Yeah.
oh God,
God, what a terrible
I-
that
word.
hurts so much.
At this point, they should have just called him Chad.
yeah, Chad.
That would've been-
Yeah,
I'd be-
Chad.
yeah,
They changed
I'd
his
accept
name.
that.
They already changed his name anyway. In the games, he's Eugene Show, and in the anime, they call him Chod Blaze. And it's like, why? If you're gonna change it, just change the whole thing at that
Yeah.
point. Like,
Yeah.
super weird.
Very.
So basically, otherwise, Proto Man in general for all of you guys.
I think so. Yeah.
Proto Man.
You could be like progressive and have a game where you're like you make your own robot master and just kind of go do that.
That was
Play
supposed to
Mega
be.
Girl from Captain.
Yeah, that was supposed to be one of the. That was like the idea behind Mega Man Universe. I mixed the two up that were around the time. One of them was it was like the online multiplayer where you built your own robot master, and that was like the whole
Right, that
premise
one.
for it.
Yeah. I think I
I
remember that one.
I think it was. Oh God, I get the mix up because Mega Man Universe was not that one. I think it was the other one.
No, because
I don't
Mega Man
remember.
Universe, at base was Mega Man 2 remade, but then
Yeah.
you also have like guest characters and you can make your own levels.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. And I believe they had some online capabilities. I know that you would share levels online, but I don't know what else because the game got canceled. So, next question. Which Mega Man game got you started with the entire series? Is from Maverick, but we already pretty much answered that
Talked about
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. But 3 otherwise.
Three.
Yeah. Mega Man 8.
Yep. And Gray54 asked, which Mega Man series are your favorites and why? We already answered that question.
That's what had- yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll go with one we didn't answer yet, and it's from Noble Boy. Who is your favorite Mega Man antagonist across the entire series? Well, I like Vile. I
That's
definitely
interesting.
That was cool.
I think Vile's cool. Sigma, I absolutely like Sigma a whole lot. I think that Sigma should be a staple in the Marvel vs. Capcom series. I know he's playable in Infinite, but I hope we get a proper Marvel vs. Capcom game where
Oh,
he
God,
would
yeah.
he would be in it. But
Yeah. There's a lot of story potential that's just kind of thrown into the garbage, unfortunately.
I just want to see him interact with Bison. They kind of
Right,
look similar.
right?
Yeah.
Like
There was a lot of bad writing in that. I was always pissed off about that game because that was supposed to be X's time to shine after so long, and the writing was so bad.
yeah. Another villain I would probably say I do like the idea of World 3 in the Mega Man Battle Network series. I really do like the characters from that. And of course Dr. Wily, because why not?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I'd say I kind of liked Lumine. Like, I know it's
Yeah.
cheesy
Yeah.
Bible sort of stuff, but I'm into that. If you
Yeah.
he had something interesting going on, and unfortunately, we're probably never going to find out why
Yeah.
or what.
Someone
And,
finally
um,
put one over on Sigma. It was awesome.
Yeah, whoop, forget that.
And even if they were to make an X9, they probably might just like skip over that and just go to whatever is the
They're
next
probably
thing.
just gonna do like a reboot or something, or like
Yeah.
a prequel to Mega Man X would be really interesting. But I feel like Sigma could be written a little better. I do like him a lot as a potential character, especially in X8. He started talking complete nonsense, and I was like, oh yeah, you go, man. I'm totally here for this shit.
Mhm.
Also, I like Awakened Zero / Maverick Zero. Like, I know they kind of keep going back to that. Well, again, Marvel versus Capcom Infinite did it really badly, but
Yeah.
it's an interesting topic. I like it.
Yep.
This is almost on the same level as the last question that we answered with the pick your robot master that you would start a side series with, because there's not that many like antagonists
Mhm.
that isn't in more than one game. Like, but I'm all about redemption, and I love a good redemption story. So I'm gonna do a double answer. I'm gonna do Dr. Doppler and Dr. Cossack.
I like that. I love Cossack. He likes
I
vodka.
love
What
those
more do you
too.
need?
Yeah, like I love those too. Like that would be. I would love to see something. If anything, could be like, I'm going way off the rails here, but something like Dragon Ball GT. I don't know if you guys have ever watched it, but like
Yes.
Dr. Gero and Dr. Mew, and the creation of Super Android 17,
Mhm.
have that sort of thing. But Dr. Cossack and Dr. Doppler kind of have like a Ultimate Sigma or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Like to just have them come back for something that may not be much more like more than just like a lucid fantasy. But I love those two. I love those
Yeah.
two a lot. Like they were so cool.
I do love that Mega Man 11 and including like, hey, here's where our 8 Robot Masters came from. I forget if it was the Ice one that was
Tundra Man?
made by that was Tundra Man. I think it was Tundra Man that was made by Dr. Cossack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like they didn't forget him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
I for me, I think my favorite villain has got to be Dr. Dr. Weil / Vile.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah.
like
Yeah.
What a dick.
I know he's such an asshole.
He was an asshole. Yes.
And he's the problem is, and what makes me like him so much is he's really good at it.
Yeah.
Like the whole 4-game arc is him like manipulating shit behind the scenes.
Yeah, I
the
love
idea
his
being that that Zero's like slowly peeling the layers off this huge conspiracy to find him, and like I like Dr. Wily. But it's kind of a Robotnik style thing where it's like, it's Mega Man, it's Dr. Wily, they're gonna fight, he's gonna escape and do it again. Stigma, I like in certain ways. I love the idea of this undying virus, which is kind of what Sigma ultimately just embodies by the end. Like in the first couple games, it's like, yep, nope, I'm just Sigma. My mind is all screwy because of this virus, but I'm Sigma. And like over the course of the games, he eventually visibly like mutates into just like, no, I'm just this viral consciousness that just like infects shit all over the place. Like my feelings on Sigma nowadays are summed up best with the Mega Man Extreme screen cap from Zero X. It was Sigma again.
Yeah.
It was like,
Somehow Sigma returned.
yeah, it's sure. And like honestly, Lumine for the same reason. Like I remember playing X8 for the first time and being stunned because we get to the end and here's this like brimstone-looking Sigma with the huge horns. It's like, great, it's fucking Sigma again, whatever. And then I beat Sigma. Yeah, and then it's just like, oh yeah, that wasn't the final boss. Screw this guy.
What?
Yeah, no, he's I'm playing him like a fiddle. All right, let's do this Jacob elevator situation here. And like, okay, surprise, like real villain. So yeah, Dr. Weil and Lumine are easily, in my opinion, the two best of the franchise.
I think Dr. Vile is probably one of the best written characters I think I've ever experienced in a Mega Man game. Just from a pure like script writing standpoint, like how they wanted to portray a bad guy, I think they did. They hit all the points with Dr. Vile.
Real quick, I posted in the podcast guest room, like, this threw me off when I played Mega Man X6.
Yeah.
Like, up until that point, I have never seen Mega Man X smiled up until that point. And I was like,
yeah.
because he's always like very serious, and I'm like, just seeing that, I'm like, that threw me off. Like wow, like I get it, because he was really happy to see Zero, because he thought Zero was dead, and Zero was supposed to be dead, and then they decided to go with that direction. So
They sure did.
I just
It was a
Oh
direction.
boy.
I just wanted to throw that one out there.
Yeah.
We got 2 more questions. The next one is from Redbeard. Name 3 characters, including bosses, that you found annoying. 3 characters and including bosses. Well, I'm gonna have to go with in Mega Man 1, where you fight against like a copy of yourself when you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know how to get through it now, but back then that was a hard fight. Like when you fight the copy of yourself, that was a hard fight. Holy shit. Like I remember like struggling for a while with that. Now it's like that's no problem. Like I like the best weapons to use against it are Electman's weapon or Fireman. But mainly Fireman is what worked better for me. So that's what I used to beat him. That's number 1. Number 2, and I'm gonna say, if I had to pick the most annoying, the final boss in Mega Man Extreme 2. Fuck that shit.
Mm.
And number 3, where you fight against Gate in X6.
Yeah, that's garbage. That's
Garbage
garbage.
fight.
X6 is definitely in my answer.
Honorary mention, High Max in X6.
I was gonna say
that was one of my
even
answers.
more than Gate. High Max, the big square thing, is
fucking
maybe the most bullshit I've
oh
ever
my
seen.
God.
Bullshit, yeah.
Holy fucking hell!
That's what you fight against in X6. It's not the
Yeah.
big square thing, the big
Yeah.
circle
Just
thing.
the big square and the big circle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This game
Oh.
was made in 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
really? Oh.
Well, since you took High Max, I'll pick another boss from X6, the Mother Nightmare, the four
Yeah,
square.
crap
Oh
as well.
no.
Yeah, that was
Oh
awful.
no.
That
It
was bad.
terrible. Hey, do you like moving around? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, too
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 bad.
bad. Yeah.
Yep.
The
Fuck
first time I
that.
fought the Yellow Dragon, that was pretty bad. There was one more. This one. I'm trying to think. Because when you first play a Mega Man game, every boss is annoying. But like if you don't know what you're doing, every boss you hate every boss. Like I guess the one that stands out to me as the most annoying, I think Quickman was pretty annoying for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quickman was pretty annoying for me for a
You
while.
can't be very if you don't know what you're doing.
Like
for
it's
sure.
just just oh my god, Quickman like destroyed me. Like it was pretty bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I think those are. High Max was my number 1 answer. Like I just
He can
yeah.
soft lock you. I think you can go up against him. You don't have the weapon you need. Like I think
Yeah.
only the fire blade or something damages
Yeah.
him. And I just remember being stuck. Like, oh, you're here and I don't have the weapon. Well, screw me, I guess.
Yep.
yeah. And yeah. I there's like other annoying fights, but it's like once you get it, you're like, oh, okay. Like I'm thinking about the one in I think X7 where like you're in the city and you're kind of flying through and
Oh
you got
yeah.
that. I don't like. It took me so long to beat that.
Oh right,
Like-
that one.
Yeah, just like a hot air balloon or something, and then you finally actually fight the boss. And you're just like,
Yeah.
I gotta do all this. Oh my god.
Well, speaking of X7, I feel like I have to bring up the like bingo card free space of Flame Highnard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Burn to the
Burn to the
ground.
ground.
how do you code a game that has voice lines and get through any amount of QA testing at all and not have someone go, hey, we need like at least 1 or 2 other lines besides this, and they can't repeat multiple times per second. I'm begging you.
You gotta have silence in there somewhere, dude.
Oh my god, it's just my head hurts. I haven't played the game much. I've played it 2 or 3 times total, and that stage is always just like, all right, let's just mute the game while I
Yeah,
do this
good
for my
idea.
own sanity.
Alright.
High Max
Ground.
also agreed way up there.
Yes.
From the classic games, I would say I like Drillman as a character, but fighting Drillman is a pain in the ass when you can die after the fight is otherwise over.
Yeah.
It's always great when you're like, sweet, we did it. Whoop.
Yep.
Why? Yeah. So Flame Highnard, High Max. I guess Drillman. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say there are ones that are extremely hard, but fair hard, like Omega. But I wouldn't hold that against them as being like annoying. That's just like, no, it's a super boss. It's meant to be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I would have to say one of them is the final Dr. Wily fight in Mega Man 7. That is absolute garbage. That's crap.
Yeah.
There's I don't know how you're supposed to win that except have a lot of E-tanks. And I found this one trick where you can shock him and he won't like fire all of his projectiles. He'll just like do like kind of a truncated version of his usual attack. But otherwise it's a real garbage fight. It's complete bullshit. There's also you've all talked about high max at this point, but I feel like just sorry, I have to think about like
Yeah. While you're thinking, I do want to say, that's how you know they messed up that boss fight in Mega Man 7. Because in Mega Man 8, Wily almost does the same exact things with the 4 projectiles and stuff. But they've heavily balanced it out. So it's like you could avoid him. And that's how they know they messed up with that Mega Man 7 boss fight.
The sad thing about that boss fight in Mega Man 7, it was not an accident. It was actually made on purpose.
Oh my god.
really
It was on purpose.
because of rentals or the usual garbage.
Rentals.
For God's sake. Well, I beat the game after renting it, so joke's on you, Capcom.
And keep in mind, Mega Man 7 was actually made in 3 months.
But like I don't know, it's just like putting such a hard challenge at the very end of a game. It's just like if I were renting that game and I hadn't gotten past Wily, I'd just be like, I'm not renting it for another like couple days just because the fight to win this crap fight. Goodbye.
Yeah, like it's bad. It's a very bad fight.
But as for other bosses, I have to say going up against the Doc robots, like not knowing what the hell I was looking at or what I was supposed to do, like the Quick Man, I was like, oh god, because he's a Doc robot starts bouncing around throwing boomerangs at me. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I guess in you know what? I've never been good at the Yellow Devil in the first game. It's just I still use the pause trick. I'm sorry.
Pause trick, yeah. Yeah, there's one that I forgot about until now. I was just came up to my mind. I love Mega Man 2, one of the greatest games ever. Fuck the Boom Bean Trap.
Yeah, that's what is up with that? That is a bad boss.
The only way to beat it is if you use Crash Bomb.
Yes.
Like,
and unless you have,
that's the one with the things on the wall. The
yes.
Yeah. Unless you miscount, you're screwed.
Yeah. I think you can miss exactly once, and only if you have very good aim after that, because you can hit 2 of them with 1 if you're extremely precise.
Yes.
That shit sucks.
One of the worst.
That's like, usually where I stop playing if I'm doing like, I'm going to run through Mega Man 2. Okay, I'm good.
Like, yeah. I love Mega Man 2. Like, I will always sing praises. I will still consider it one of the best games ever made. For sure. That boss fight fucking sucks.
I agree. Yeah.
Yep. And last question comes from Dragon. Do you prefer the classic series or the X series?
X. I've always been a big fan of X. Like, I love Mega Man, of course, but
yeah.
I mean, when you're a dumbass, like, young preteen / young teenager, and it's just like, oh, Mega Man X is so much cooler because it's like, oh, wow, it's like Terminator 2 and Blade Runner and all that cool stuff. And, I mean, Mega Man X, at least the original game, is really cool, so it's still cool. And so it passes that smell test. But, yeah, you know how it is when you're younger and all that. But it was the Mega Man X series that kind of got me back online and all that stuff and got me into writing fan fiction. So I've just always had a very soft spot for it.
Yeah, X for me. Like, even though I'm wearing classic stuff, I'm still the X. It's just what I've been used to know. Like, I didn't play the classic until I was already an adult, so the X series kind of started me off and kept me going.
For sure.
I think I would also say X, though I will admit, so I think in most like individual elements, I would say X also just kind of beats out classic in terms of like reasons I like it. I like the story, the fact that it's got kind of a continuous story is nice. Even it's not even so much that it's darker, but it does have a sense of continuity to it where the classic series really doesn't. Yeah. I do like just X and Zero as characters. I like Sigma as a character in terms of like his history, his personal history with X, as well as Zero. I think that just the movement and gameplay generally feels better in X. It's a little brisker, and it's a lot more kind of twitchy controls at times to get in there. I will say though, I do appreciate in the classic series the ability for the games and the robot masters and the levels to have a little bit more gimmickiness to them. By being a little bit more cartoonish in tone, it gives them the ability to have like a Strike Man stage that would otherwise make absolutely no sense in a Mega Man X game.
Yeah.
So like there are things that classic can pull off a little better than X, but I think by and large I like X better of the two.
Yep. I'm actually gonna go with classic because while I do enjoy X, like, yeah, the Mega Man X, it does have like more continuity base. The way the story works, like the characters are developed and everything. I like classic more because in terms of the amount of good games, it's been very consistent compared to X, where it's been all over the place. But to me, the way I compare them, it's like Mega Man, the classic series, is a Saturday morning cartoon. Like each game feels like one season, where a lot of them are self-contained episodes. Sure, they continue on with the plot, but I feel like it's kind of more contained within each episode up until when Mega Man beats Dr. Wily. Then the next season all starts anew, same thing and over again. A bit formulaic, but as they always say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Mm-hmm.
But for Mega Man X, it feels like an anime that you could just keep watching, and even going into the next game, it still continues on. And like it's one of those things where just between the art style, the music, the direction that they go with the games, and the characters and story is pretty much gives me more anime vibes compared to the classic series. So it's really hard for me to compare both of them in terms of which one I like better, but I'm going to give the edge to the classic series because of consistency.
Yeah.
The classic series does not have profound failures like X6 and X7 under its belt. So
it does have its moments, like the moment where like in Mega Man 8 where Dr. Light says Dr. Wowie, or that scene in Mega Man 8 where Dr. Wily grabs Mega Man and he just squeezes him.
He screams for like 5 minutes.
That painful scream, it just does not stop at all. It doesn't know when to stop. And fun fact about Mega Man 8, all the voice actors from that game, because like X4 had those same voice actors, the same group. Capcom and like they all lived in Japan, and Capcom pretty much took them from the streets, saying, "Hey, you guys want to do voice acting?"
Yeah, that's how it was done today.
Turn of the century voice acting is rough. Castlevania, same thing.
Oh yeah.
So there was also Ruth Jarman, who was known as Ruth Shirashi. She voiced Mega Man and Mega Man X in 8 and X4. She's a tour guide.
No kidding.
Yeah, she's a tour guide now in Japan. Especially for those who are English speaking, that helps out people that are visiting Japan but never been before. She helps out.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
It's kind of like how like the actors in the first Resident Evil game, the one person they kept trying to find for years is the person who portrayed Jill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they found her. They found everybody else, but I don't remember if they found Jill. She was like the hardest one.
Yeah, I think the Residents of Evil podcast team or whatever. I think they
Evil. I like that.
Yeah, I think they had them. They had them all like for an interview.
Yep.
Like
we got to remake the intro from Resident Evil 1 for when we started covering Resident Evil games, and one of the very specific directions that I had for the one who was doing Jill is you have to say Joseph, like it can't sound normal. It has to sound weird.
Like I love that era of Capcom, like during the PlayStation era, especially like with the arcade games, like when Capcom just kept pumping out all those like Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, and Marvel vs. Capcom games, and on the home consoles, like you get those, but you also get like all that stuff from Mega Man and Resident Evil. Just that era was something. It just hit completely different for me. But yeah, the voice acting in Mega Man 8 was definitely like it's definitely the standout. Like because it got better over time. Like, although 9 and 10 were basically like 8-bit, they went back to 8-bit, and then 11, they had voice acting, and I believe it was Ben Diskin who voiced Mega Man in that one, because he was Nigel Uno in Codename Kids Next Door. He was Mega Man. I just find that funny. I do wonder who would have actually played as Proto Man, if he would have been in it. I want to bring up one more thing before we sign off. So there was one more fond memory I want to bring up, and it involved when I was at Nintendo New York, and it was during E3. It was like after Nintendo had their E3 that year in 2014. Later the day, there was the Super Smash Brothers for a Wii U Invitational. And I remember there was one performance where like they were like Mega Man, the super fighting robot, and all that. And after, even though Mega Man did not win that match, after the match, the fans used like all their like they had those cards with all those characters, and everyone was chanting Mega Man. I wonder. I had a feeling Capcom had to see that, and they were like, "Oh shit, we fucked up."
I hope so.
I really hope Capcom saw that. Like, I feel like they had to, because like, because the Smash reveal for Smash 4 when Mega Man was revealed, and I remember I was watching that back in 2013 when at Nintendo New York, back when it was Nintendo World Store, and it was lagging because the internet connection was not great, and it was the first time that they were moving away from the presentation format and going into a direct format, and then it just stopped right at Mega Man. Like, once his mask was just appeared, everybody was hyped just seeing that. Everyone like just super hyped just to see Mega Man in Smash. Like, that was amazing. Like, if I have to think of one more fond memory, that was the one. Mega Man reveal in Smash was amazing. But that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for coming through. Nadia, Rick, Squez, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Before we sign off, Nadia, where can we find you?
Again, you can find me on Axe of the Blood God. That's a RPG podcast. That is at patreon.com/bloodgodpod. I also put up my own kind of, I kind of like save my old games writing from terrible deaths on the internet, and I put it on my own Patreon, which is patreon.com/Nadia Oxford. Otherwise, I'm around on social media. You can find me on Blue Sky at Nadia Oxford. I'm not on Twitter as much anymore. It's for the best. But yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me. My husband runs the Mega Network. That's the MM Network. Is it net or com? I'm sorry, I don't remember, but yeah, he runs that. And keep looking out for our cool new projects coming up soon.
Yep. And also, just that's the channel that you both stream from, right?
Yeah, we stream from Nightworks, which is twitch.tv.com Nightworks.
Yep. All right, Rick, what about you?
Cool. Yeah, you can find me. We put up basically everything on YouTube, youtube.com/@the_dpad, because they have now 3 separate username formats. If you go to dpad.fm, it just redirects directly there. I just give people that these days. But yeah, twitch.tv/dpadfm. I'm on Twitter reluctantly. And yeah, I'm on Blue Sky as well. I'm technically on Threads, but I'm not really doing anything there.
Yeah.
Hoping to... We've had kind of an extended hiatus from the Mega Let's Play due to a project that I'm hoping to finish by the end of the year. That's a pretty big and heavy one, but we'll see how that goes. And there'll be more Mega Man things coming soon for us.
Awesome. And Squez, what about you?
Me, you can find me at twitch.tv/SupaSquezPlays. I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, all SupaSquezPlays. My next Mega Man challenge, I'll be starting in December. I'll be doing X1 through X4, all deathless in one playthrough. And if I die at any point, I go back to X1.
Oh my god, that's savage, man.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Good luck. Good luck.
Last year I did a similar challenge with Sonic. I did Sonic 1 through 3 and Knuckles, all deathless, and I had to get every Emerald without failing an Emerald attempt. And I'm gonna do the same thing with Mega Man. I'm gonna get all 100%. Except an X1, because an X1 you have to die to get the. I think you have to die to get the Hadouken.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that I won't get, but the other ones I'll leave it to my discretion.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
luck with that.
Awesome.
Well, you can find me pretty much anywhere in the stratosphere at Shellshock Prime. I do daily streams from Monday through Thursdays, from 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern till midnight, with the occasional Sunday stream and the very rare Friday stream. And next week we're going to be back with another episode, and next week we're going to be doing an episode based on Splatoon, which I'm looking forward to talking about. That's going to be a good one. So yeah, like that was the Mega Man episode, and yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks for the 300 bits, Squez. I appreciate it.
Thank you again for having us. Thank you, much appreciated.
Yep. Yeah, so I'll get the raid call during the credits, but yeah, thanks to everybody that came through. This was a great podcast as always. And I appreciate everybody coming in. So let me just get this
Happy to
raid.
be here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So next week Splatoon, and I'll see you guys then. So make sure to take care of yourselves, be awesome, stay awesome, tell your loved ones you love them, check up on them as always, fight for lasting peace as always, and I'll see you guys next time. And may you all have a wonderful night, everybody. Goodbye.